Comcast Business Studios, 97.5, The Fanatic. Now it's time to wake up. Kincade and Salciunas is on the air.
Today's talk show for your morning drive.
A lot of people, they feel gross when the 2023 thing gets mentioned, right? I've reached a point of concern with the Philadelphia Eagles offense.
They're at the bottom of the league in almost every statistical category. They're not good.
Broadcasting live from the Comcast Business Studios, here are your hosts, John Kincade and Andrew Salciunas.
97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
Night was abysmal. Now, I know a lot of people weren't locked into it because you also had the Phillies extra inning game
Going on at the same
that
time.
ended the series against the Dodgers. So a lot of people watched the Phillies, maybe didn't even watch the Eagles, and if they did, the Eagles were on maybe your smartphone or they were on your laptop because the Phillies took precedence that night because it was a playoff game And I think a lot of people thought, they'll win this game against the Giants. Thursday Night Football, they'll take care of this.
No, there was a lot of arrogance going into that game. And by the way, king of arrogance was
Us included.
Oh, I was right there. Give me a crown.
Didn't we say like 34-17?
I
thought it was going to be
I thought a 17-point win.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I thought a 17-point win. Just didn't see the right team wearing it.
So, boiling point, I think we've reached it where we're starting to get concerned here on the show. Except for Connor. I don't know. Are you there? Are you getting...
Yeah.
All right, so you're getting concerned. I wonder what that moment will be for Eagles fans. Now, hopefully that moment never happens, right? But what would your boiling point be with this team? Because there is a lot of excuse making or ignoring or downplaying, to your point, John. And I wonder what could be that moment for people. So you can climb in at 610-632-0975. Now, there were people yesterday that gave pushback on the 2023 narrative, and not fans, media members.
Yes.
So yesterday, we had our man Adam Schefter on, who joins us every single Wednesday at 7:55. And when we asked him about the feeling of 2023, this was his response.
There are absolutely issues. We know all is not right. We know there are things to correct. We know this team is looked off. They're not fun. They've still won the 20 of 22 games. They're still 4-2 this year. Like, I understand that they've got issues. And I think last year they were 2-2 and got everything straightened out before making the run they did. And this team has not looked like last year. And this team has looked off. And this team does have corrections to make. But I just think that we're probably getting a little bit more worked up than we should be at this point in time. Like, there's still 11 games to go. There's still a lot of talent on the roster.
Now,
Okay, here's what I'm just going to tell you right there.
Go ahead.
No, not taking it this time around. After 2023, I'm not taking these talking points.
Right.
I'm not going to be just told, for God's sakes, ignore what you're seeing. They were 10-1. That team was 10-1. And we were seeing the warning signs. And we would come in on Mondays and people would be like, oh my gosh, can't believe these guys. They won. They're winning. For God's sakes, give it a rest. When in reality, the people who saw the cracks, the people who saw the foundation cracking were right.
Now,
So-
I got to give Shefty credit, though, because last year, Andy, you and him went back and forth a lot where he would yell at you and say, get over last year. It's not last year.
Sure.
They ended up winning the Super Bowl. So we've seen both sides of the coin. It doesn't mean this year is last year, and it doesn't mean it's necessarily
Now,
22.
I will say this, and you know I love Shefty. We have him on every week, and I love our conversations with Shefty. There is something to being on the outside.
That is correct.
How many people on the outside picked the Phillies to win the World Series? A lot of
bunch.
people did. Like
A lot did.
How
Yeah.
many? Like you look
a lot
at.
did. They were the favorites. They were the betting favorites to win the World Series. The day the postseason began, they were the betting favorites.
Because a lot of people just looked at the roster, did not know the flaws, that we have been seeing, and so they just look at the roster. They go,
Oh,
Schwarber,
the
Turner,
Philly.
Harper,
Oh my
Realmuto,
gosh, Philly should win.
a Cy Young candidate, Christopher Sanchez. How are they going to lose? They're winning the World Series. A lot of baseball people. Well, I'm not even talking fans. I'm talking baseball people.
Yes.
Pick the Phillies to win the World Series. When we live it a lot closer than those national people, so respectfully to Adam Schefter, he tells me to relax. I don't think he's locked in on the Eagles every single week the way we are. I'm sure he checks in. I'm sure he follows storylines, but he's got 18 other games to pay attention to over the course of a weekend, right? He's got so many storylines to pay attention to over the course of the weekend. So I understand where he's coming from, but again, the on-paper thing, look at all the talent on the roster, sometimes does not overcome a lot of the flaws or issues or cracks, as John says. So our question today, 610-632-0975. What would the boiling point be for you if you have not hit that moment yet? Now, look, you may believe it's going to turn, and that's fine. But all I want you to tell me is if there were a boiling point, what was it?
Are you, if I gave you a 1 to 10, that it's going to change, that it's going to be fine? I think where do most people end up? Where do you think most people end up? That's a question.
I think most people think it'll
like
turn.
a 7?
like 6 or 7.
No,
yeah.
Yeah, that's what I say. Like, I think most people are at like a 7, but they're not at a 10.
A lot of people don't want to admit that it's bad right now.
Right.
For players, individual players, groups, a lot of people don't want to admit it. So coming up next, not only is Adam Schefter trying to tell us to relax a bit, what about a man that is inside that locker room all the time? Here's someone that a lot of you out there complain about who gives a positive story next. It's Kincade Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic. It's 6:14 here on Kincade and Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic. Our man MBD chiming in on the YouTube chat. My concern is the cumulative effect of tush pushes and no victory Monday, and all the physical football this team has played last year has left them battered and broken. And it's
I
not
think
a crazy theory.
I think he's a bright guy. I think that's a bright comment as far as to just think of that as part. How about this? As part of the reason.
I mean, Jordan Mailata has straight up said, again, to E.J. Smith, credit to him for the great article, that his body was not recovered the way it normally would be at the beginning of the season. Now, that's not just because of the tush push, but it's the way they ran the football as much as they did. How many times did Nick Sirianni say last year that we are going to out-physical our opponents, right?
Oh, yeah.
That was the mindset that they had. We talk about the DNA of the Phillies and coming up small in the bright lights. Like the DNA of the Eagles last year was just being the more physical team, and it led to literally winning a Super Bowl. And maybe these guys' bodies just have not recovered. You play into February. And then I agree, the Victory Monday, you guys remember, I ripped it the very next day. When we heard the Ashland Sullivan report that they got rid of it, I thought that was stupid. I thought that's over the top. You're not stupid.
You're not stupid.
I thought it was over the top nonsense from Nick Sirianni, much like it's banner night. Like, I think they went over the top with just ignoring everything that happened. It happened. And there is a way to try to play off of what happened. All right. Jeff McClain yesterday, a guy that a lot of people complain about because he hates the Eagles. No, he doesn't. He just does his job the way it's supposed to be done. Right, John? Like, there's no bias. There's no Eagles love. He's a journalist and a damn good one, and we're lucky that we get them on every single week. And so you would think the way people talk about Jeff McClain, he'd be the one sounding alarms, right? He'd be the one saying, yeah, this season's going to fall apart. Because that's how people, for whatever reason, perceive Jeff McClain. I don't know why.
No, it's because I blame your generation.
Yeah.
I've told you this before. I blame your generation because there's nobody, there was never a time. I never heard this. When we had Jeff McClain, the hard-hitting Jeff McClain, the hard-hitting style of journalist, was the absolute norm in this city.
You had to do it.
He was the norm. Nowadays, it's, gosh, they're so rough on the Eagles, the Phillies. And, yes, I saw a Phillies media thing yesterday with some Phillies media members just falling all over themselves to just be like, the media people, the fans criticizing Rob Thompson. It's like not like Rob Thompson's won 96 games and everything. He's so stupid. Oh, he's terrible. Like dying to defend Rob Thompson. I grew up in an era in this town when the media never did that. Right. Never felt the need to be pom-pom shakers and defenders of people.
Well, it's not necessarily pom-pom shakers if you believe it, right? Like, you can have an opinion. Like,
but the thing is, though, the people aren't saying he's stupid.
Right.
They're making false arguments to try to prop up an argument of their own because they love Rob.
Some people are calling him stupid.
Yeah, some people are calling him stupid.
Guess what? I'll call stupid decisions. But Rob's not stupid because Rob does a lot of good things right.
So Jeff McClain yesterday with us, we asked him the question about 2023 because he's inside the locker room, right? Like, with all due respect to Shefty's working the phones. Jeff McClain is in the locker room talking to guys every single day. So when Jeff McClain was asked about the feeling of 2023, here was his response.
No, I don't think so. From what I gathered, and I did talk about this in my podcast, I felt like after the loss to the Broncos in that home locker room at the Link, it did feel like someone had been shot. And I felt like, well, that was odd to some extent because, they're just 4-1 and it was a bad loss. I think that might have had a little bit to do with the fact that they just hadn't been losing much and, they hadn't lost in a calendar year with Jalen Hurts as the quarterback, at least in a game that he finished. So I think that was, but it also might have been a kind of like a collective, like coming to grips with like, oh, okay, those first 4 games where everyone was telling us that we weren't really as good as the record indicated, maybe we aren't close to that. So, and I think maybe that had kind of spilled over to the short week of practice, and that's why, part of the reason why they didn't perform in New York.
So you asked me yesterday on post-show headlines, something that we do every single day on YouTube. Check it out.
Thank you so much for checking it out. We do appreciate it.
Kincade Salciunas post-show headlines. Just search it, you'll find it. And you asked me, does that make me feel better when Jeff McClain says it? And I go, yeah. Now, I have to see it play out on the field.
No. But it does make me feel better when guys who have their eyeballs on the team on a daily basis and are so embedded and also have seen so much.
Right.
Have a point of reference of going, okay, I've been covering the Eagles this long.
Well, he was in the locker room in 2023.
Right, I've seen
you know what I mean?
And he goes, this doesn't even seem like last year's 2-2 start.
Right.
makes me feel much better.
Now, I need to see it happen on the field.
Yeah, wake me up on let's see it on Sunday afternoon.
Right.
Let's see. Sunday afternoon, 1 o'clock.
If you've not reached a boiling point of concern just yet, what would that boiling point be? It could be a loss to a team, even though a lot of people like to downplay losses, or it could just be how it continues to look. 0 points in the second half this week, 0 points in the first half the next week. What is the boiling point for you? 610-632-0975. We'll check our text messages coming up next. Also, could this mini bye have been a savior for the bad vibes that are hovering over the Eagles right now? Hear from Jalen Hurts, who spoke about a meeting he had with Kevin Patullo during this break and his response to Lane Johnson's predictability comments. It's Kincade and Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic.
Now on 97.5 The Fanatic Sports Update.
Some solid injury news. I'm Connor Thomas, and the Eagles got some tentatively good news on the first injury report of the week yesterday. Landon Dickerson and Quinyon Mitchell practiced in a limited capacity. The only Eagle that did not practice was Grant Calcaterra, and health is important, but winning is more so, even if it has been elusive for the past couple of weeks for the Eagles. Jalen Hurts talked about searching to get back in the win column yesterday.
You know, the goal is to go out there and win, and I think right now we're searching for how can we put ourselves in a position to win football games and do it in a way where we can establish ourselves and have an identity in that.
Now, through 6 weeks, I'm sure some fans would wish they're not still searching, but we'll see if we see it on the field this weekend as the Eagles go on the road to face the Vikings 1 p.m. Sunday in Minnesota. The Phillies have a huge press conference today at 11 a.m. as Rob Thompson and Dave Dombrowski will have their end-of-season availability. We'll be listening to that closely. And the Flyers take on the Winnipeg Jets tonight at 7 p.m. at the Xfinity Mobile Arena. You can hear that game live here on 97.5 The Fanatic. We'll talk to Andrew DeCecco from the 8 o'clock hour until the end of the show for the latest on what's going on with the Birds. This update is brought to you by our friends over at Groundworks. Schedule a free visit with Groundworks' team of experts by going to groundworks.com today. There's a reason why. They are the trusted local experts. I'm Connor Thomas for the home of the Sixers, Flyers, and Union, 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
Kincade and Salciunas, 97.5, The Fanatic. What would your boiling point be when it comes to, I don't know, sounding the alarms, getting concerned about the Eagles? Because there are a lot of people that don't want to hear the 2023 narrative, or there's a lot of people that just, don't even want to point out that there's flaws. Like I saw somebody on our YouTube chat saying, all right, 2023 is a different year. This is 2025. What are the issues with 2025? It's not hard to try to compare the two, right? Because new offensive coordinator, there's a lot of issues.
Sure.
With Brian Johnson and Kevin Patullo. So that's why 2023 is so easily said when we have these conversations. But, yeah, there's a lot of issues with this team right now. And there's people that don't want to admit it, or they ignore it, or they just don't see it yet. And that's fine. But if you don't see it, or if you're ignoring it, what would your boiling point be? 610-632-0975. What do we got in the text line so far this morning, Connor?
Zach will lead us off, and he says 4-2 isn't worrying me. This isn't 2023 in my mind. What worries me, though, is the offense, not the attitudes. The play calling needs to change. We all see it, but I still have faith that with the talent, they will.
So my response, what was his name?
Zach.
Thank you for texting in, Zach. I'm happy that you are in a good place right now, right? Like, doesn't see 2023, 4-2 is good enough for him. But when he says, but my concern is with the play calling, I don't know when that's going to change. And I don't know if it's ever going to change. It may change after the season's over when they bring in a new offensive coordinator. Like, I don't think Kevin Patullo is all of a sudden going to start clicking on all cylinders. We've seen, again, great halves from Patullo, but we've not seen 4 full quarters of good offensive play calling. We haven't.
And with all due respect, not trying to slap down the texter, I hear a lot of people telling you about the locker room. They have no clue. They have no clue.
We didn't say that.
But the idea about what's going on in this isn't. No one can tell.
No, he just has faith that it's going to turn.
But when the players tell you that it reminds them of 2023 and they have to get it out of their head, believe them. They lived it. When the players themselves are telling you, yeah, this is reminding me a little of 2023. When they had a players-only meeting Monday on the offensive side of the ball to game plan and say, let's all get on the same page and talk about this. When the players themselves are telling you that the alarms are going off, you can think anything and feel anything you want. They're telling you that it reminds them of 2023.
Ready for a positive spin?
Yes.
Because I like to do this every once in a while, despite how I might feel down in the dumps.
What is it?
Positive spin. At least they're admitting it.
No, I agree with you. No, I applaud it.
Like they could have just been like, "Oh, we're 4-2. What problem?" Jalen used to say, "What? Remember? I still remember."
When did the standard not become the standard?
Well,
right?
2023, when they were 10-1, it was the standard is the standard, and then it was since when did winning not just be the standard? Right? All of a sudden, his tone changed. That was the first step of ignoring issues. When you go from standard is the standard to, well, all that matters is winning, your tone changes because you realize that there's issues with the football team, but at least you're winning football games. The fact that they are admitting that, at least some players are admitting that it feels like 2023, great time for a mini bye, for them to have some time
little mini bye
to get away from football for a little bit and try to come together. Now, look, all that matters is how it looks Sunday. You can have all these great things being said, and we'll play you some clips from Jalen Hurts about that meeting that you talked about. All these great things can be said. A.J. Brown spoke yesterday. Jordan Mailata spoke yesterday. It could be a great rallying cry, but if they go out there Sunday and poop the bed, then all of a sudden we're going to go right back to it. So here was Jalen Hurts. He spoke yesterday to the media, and he talked about that meeting with Kevin Patullo and the offense.
When I think about that meeting, I just, think about the direction, I guess, that we're going to go in and coming out and obviously establishing ourselves and really kind of just searching for that identity of what we want to be as an offense. I think we've shown a lot of different things out there. We've put a lot of different things on tape, and we haven't been consistent enough. And so kind of going as he goes in terms of, what we do. And our job as as players is to go execute, So I think a big focus is that. We try and control what we can on the field. I've come up here and talked about operation and leading the troops and doing the things I need to do on the field to make sure we're in a good place and taking advantage of the things that take no talent, put ourselves in some positions. If you think back from a macro perspective in the Denver game, some of the things that happened towards the end of the game that we could control, but we didn't. I think you can look at every single game and look at it from that standpoint. And so I don't know if it, maybe not his words, my words would be, some alignment and some structure to kind of galvanize that and get in that direction that we want it to be.
I wonder if they got a major slice, and by slice, I mean like the whole damn pie of humble pie after the loss to the Giants.
I think that must be I think a loss to the Giants has far more impact than a loss to the Broncos.
Yeah,
because it starts to feel it, and
there's never a good loss, but maybe losing to the Giants might be that. All right, we're not invincible. Remember the topic we had earlier in the year, the Rich Eisen saying the Eagles have the air of invincibility to them, and they did. They kept finding ways to win despite it looking ugly. Once you lose to the Broncos, okay, to your point, John,
it's an out-of-conference loss.
Like when we had Jeff McClain on, he pointed it out.
Weird loss.
Weird loss, but it was kind of like just the, oh, wow, we don't win every single week moment. When they lost to the Giants, maybe that's a slice of humble pie for them a little bit. Maybe it's a good thing.
Well, they're hearing about it, and and a point back to what you said about the fact that you admired the fact that they're acknowledging it. It's something that I would beg the Phillies to do.
Sure.
And the Phillies never admit their shortcomings. The Phillies never admit their crappy base running. The Phillies never admit that their defense is lackadaisical. The Phillies never admit. So, to me, the Phillies stick their heads in the sand year after year after year.
Whereas the Eagles are saying, we suck right now.
Yeah, the Eagles admit it. I like it. And their coaches admit it.
Yes, they do. Now, later in the press conference, Jalen Hurts was asked about what Lane Johnson had to say following the loss to the Giants. Here was Jalen's response.
Everybody's going to be very critical of what they believe and obviously what they have their hands in. And so I think that's fair in the sense of, him feeling that way. But it's about controlling what we can. And I think to Coach's point, when you put yourself behind the sticks, it doesn't do you too well. That's things that we can control. When you have things that take no talent that take place, those are things you can control. You're going to have physical mistakes. You're going to have some missed opportunities. You're going to have those things happen. You live with those things, but the things that take no talent, that's what you have to correct before, you kind of learn how to not lose.
Maybe, John, that loss was a good thing.
And you know what, though? I'm going to give Jalen the benefit of the doubt. A champion, Super Bowl champ.
Super Bowl MVP.
A guy who's won a lot. A guy who's been to the playoffs every single year. I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt till they prove it to me wrong. That this was a bit of a wake-up call.
All right.
Because I don't have any problem. The Broncos loss sucked.
Yeah.
But I didn't come in, ringing the 5-alarm bell, even though we did have a fire alarm that next day.
But the Giants loss coupled with the Phillies getting eliminated from the playoffs. Last Friday sucked.
No, the Giants loss to me was unacceptable.
Yeah.
Because they played, to me, it's the first loss that I can think of in the Sirianni administration where there's no excuse for the effort that they put out.
Yeah, it was bad. It was bad.
Effort.
What do we got on the text line?
You guys are going to love this one from Ben in Bucks County.
What's up, Ben?
Who says, it is a great time to be an Eagles fan. Calm down about whether this is 2023 or not. We will be fine if it's a down year. I have faith in our staff to next year have another really good year.
Oh, my gosh.
No. See, you know what that is? That's the guy that I thought.
He's happy.
That's
happy
the person
and
that I
content.
thought was eliminated. I thought we were done with the honeymoon post-Super Bowl.
Yep.
You want to eliminate Ben?
No, I don't want to eliminate Ben.
No,
I thought that mindset was gone. We did a whole show on it during the summer.
Now look, I was Ben in 2018.
Wow.
I raised my hand. I was Ben in 2018, so I understand the symptoms. I could see I could see it. I was that way after they won the first Super Bowl. After the second, no. And if the players in the locker room don't feel that way, you shouldn't feel that way.
Yeah, but Ben's happy they won the Super Bowl.
Nobody shouldn't feel that way. If the players in the locker room don't feel that way, you should.
I want to open this up too. All right, Kleiman, 610-632-0975. I didn't think there were people that were still like that. How many of you
He's content.
are in the honeymoon phase still? They won the Super Bowl. Whatever happens this year, all is good.
Wow.
A lot of you did that in 2018. I can understand it, even though that wasn't me.
I did.
I don't understand people doing that this year. How many of you are like that? Go ahead. Feel free. 610-632-0975. We'll check text messages on that as well. Coming up next, we also have some Phillies topics to discuss today because we have an end-of-season press conference to prepare for.
It's gonna be
What do you guys
exciting.
want to hear? We discuss that next. Kincade Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic.
Hey, everybody.
It is 6:41 here on Kincade and Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic. We'll get back to our text line here momentarily. Our Eagles question for you: what is the boiling point for you when it comes to the Eagles? Because a lot of people are still just saying, hey, they're fine, don't worry about it. So what would your boiling point be, if there is one? And we just had an amazing text. And I thank the texter for sending it because it adds to the show. And that's what we always appreciate with our audience. We have a very smart audience that wants to be a part of the show, and they can add to it. And we had a texter say it doesn't matter what happens this year. The Eagles won the Super Bowl last year, and I have faith in this organization to right the ship next year. I am not thinking about 2026 at all right now when it comes to the Eagles. I am not in a honeymoon phase.
That.
John, I did not think.
You're winning the division. You're leading your division right now. You're one of the best teams in football record-wise. And somebody's already turning the page to 2026 saying, yeah, it's okay. I'll wait till next year. That I don't like that attitude. I appreciate the text, but I don't like it.
How many of you are out there? 610-632-0975.
Small.
It's
got to be small,
It's got to
right?
be small. I did not think
Connor?
we had any.
Small?
Small. Very small.
It's got to be small,
I did
right?
not think we had any, though, John. I'm shocked. The reason why I'm making such a big deal out of this is I did not think we had anybody that had that mindset that, hey, it doesn't matter what happens this year. They won the Super Bowl last year. I understood why people like you, John, were there in 2018. I wasn't. I was the scoundrel. I was the a-hole that wanted more.
No, the thing is,
I was the greedy bastard that wanted more.
The thing is, though, no, you see, here's where we disagree on this. I think I was wrong and you were right.
No, I know I was right.
The thing is, though, but the thing is, I don't look at you as I look at you as being right. I look at me as being wrong. I look at me as being, are you kidding me? Why did you allow yourself to be fat and happy?
Yeah,
like, why did you get so? Because I think I had waited so long to see an Eagles win the Super Bowl. I was still basking in it, and nothing was going to sort of change my mood. And I let it. I got complacent.
No, I got you. The reason why I say I was the a-hole is you got to understand. My first ever shift as a host was 2 a.m. to 5 a.m. after the Eagles won the Super Bowl, right?
I love that.
And so I did a okay enough job where they said, all right, you want to do next Saturday? You want to do this Saturday? You know how it is. Once you get that first crack at it.
Yeah.
And I had topics on I want more. And it was, no, Andrew, come on, man. Just enjoy it. I'm like, well, I did enjoy it. I want a party to continue. I don't want to go to bed just yet. I want this party to keep going.
Exactly.
And
exactly. And I
was the scoundrel for wanting more.
I'm embarrassed that I didn't have that attitude. I am, because in life I'm not that way.
Well,
I'm not that way about
it today.
I'm not that way about anything in my life. I'm not allowing complacency. I don't enjoy things enough. But that I did.
Connor, you're allowed to text back, right?
Yeah.
Can you ask that person what their energy is like on game day?
Absolutely.
Like, when the Eagles offense scores 0 points in the second half against the Giants, is that person, that texter, sitting there like,
that's all right. Come on, we won the Super Bowl.
Or I wonder if deep down, like, they're like, oh my God, this has to get better. Like, is that a Thursday morning text a week after an Eagles loss? Or is that how that person is feeling when the losing is happening? I'm curious. Follow up with that person. All right, press conference today. It will be the end of the season press conference. Dave Dombrowski, Rob Thompson. I imagine John Middleton will be involved as well. But it's the end of the season press conference for the Philadelphia Phillies today at 11 o'clock. I imagine you'll be able to hear some of it or most of it with Middays with Marks say, with Johnny Marks and Ray Dunn. So, Johnny, you want to know what we would want to hear if there was truth serum.
Well, yeah, I was saying if you could do it right now, if you could say, hey, there's a little truth serum to Rob Thompson and Dave Dombrowski. What is it if you could ask one question and they had truth serum? They were induced. They had to give you the honest answer. What would it be? What would be the question you would ask? And I would ask, to me, my question to Dave Dombrowski would be, are you okay with going down the road of having the oldest team in baseball? By going along with a plan that rolls things back again, and it appears we're hearing a lot of things about sort of rolling things back again, and then re-upping with old guys. If you bring back Schwarber, you bring back Real Muto, are you okay having the oldest team in baseball, which runs counter to every single knowledgeable baseball mind in history, that's not how you win?
I think it's a very fair question to ask.
What do you think he'd say?
He would say this is our best chance of winning right now. So, yes. I'm okay with. I got to think about right now before I think about 5 years down the road.
That's the problem.
However, we are comfortable with the farm system that we have built. That's what he would say.
I think he'd also mention we made that decision years ago.
And the problem is, with all due respect to Dave Dombrowski, who, by the way, has such a resume. I mean, he's a Cooperstown guy. Dave Dombrowski won't be here in 5 years.
Right.
Dave Dombrowski doesn't give a flip about these crappy contracts that this organization is sitting on. Because you know what he's going to do? He's going to be in Franklin, Tennessee, enjoying life, watching some of the most beautiful sunsets in the world, tax-free, enjoying life. He's not going to be here. Maybe Preston Mattingly will be running this organization, and it'll be his job to dig out of the freaking hole of the terrible old man contracts we got. He wants to win now.
Sure.
You're letting a guy, a senior citizen guy at the end of his career, make decisions for, give 5 years to this guy and 3 more to this guy.
Though,
we already got 8 years to this guy.
But if the way you're talking about Dombrowski, they would have then traded for Eugenio Suarez or some of these other big, like they would have traded prospects, more prospects than just McAble.
No, I don't think that they
Eduardo Tait.
No, I don't think they were going to go.
Forgot that name already.
I don't think they were going to get, because Suarez is he's free agent, isn't he?
Yeah.
So I don't think they were going to do that for an expiring contract.
No, but he would have to win now.
Yeah, but that's not his more thing. Has never been the expiring.
Right, he
contract.
likes controllable.
He likes
assets.
control,
Yeah.
but he also does. You're right. He also is a F the prospects guy. He's you.
Yeah,
He's you and Les Snead from the Rams.
Except he's not. He hasn't been enough for me.
He has not been enough here with that. So, and I think that is sort of to set up Preston Mattingly. They brought in Preston Mattingly to set up the minor league system, and he's the guy who's going to be tossed the keys. Like, we're not going to bankrupt you to take the job. But these contracts, if they sign Schwarber and Real Muto, they're the oldest team in baseball.
Well, coming up next, former MLB executive who now covers Major League Baseball for The Athletic, Jim Bowden, wrote an article on the Phillies' upcoming offseason of what he thinks they should and could do. Will there be a lot of change? Will there be a lot of familiar faces? We'll go through that next. It's Kincade and Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic. Lines, both good and bad, positive and negative, and of course getting us set for Eagles-Vikings.
You know what else it means? A special occasion on the show today. Roy Rogers.
Oh, yeah, we got a Roy Rogers food drop today, man. Roy Rogers.
Like you didn't grow up on Roy Rogers.
No, I've had it.
You've had it.
But
you didn't grow up on Roy Rogers.
Did he play wide receiver for the Cowboys?
No, he did not. His wife was Dale Evans.
We always went to the Roy Rogers if we were, driving
On the
road trip, turnpike. There was always the Roy Rogers, and so I know Roy Rogers, and the first place of business my mom ever worked at was
it Roy
Rogers. Yeah.
Well, the Roy Rogers, there used to be a Roy Rogers in Newtown Square that then became Benari Jewelers.
Oh, how about that?
That then now it's like a Chase Bank, I think, because Benari moved to this beautiful new, they set up a whole beautiful new spot there. But you grew up on Roy Rogers.
Yeah.
Horsey sauce.
Well,
I mean, it's big.
We're gonna have some
We
today.
love
I
it.
can't wait. It's been a long time since I've had Roy Rogers. A long time.
Hey, Landview needs a Roy Rogers, by the way.
Yeah, you're not going to turn that down.
We could use one.
All right, so we'll get back to our text messages momentarily as you're listening to 97.5 The Fanatic, WPEN HD1 Burlington, Philadelphia, a Beasley Media Group station broadcasting live from the Comcast Business Studio, powering possibilities. Jim Bowden, who used to be an executive in Major League Baseball, he does a great job covering the league, and he wrote a really, really long article because, look, the Phillies offseason is going to be really, really long, right? There are a lot of decisions that have to be made. It's crazy, right? Obviously, we wanted the Phillies to win the World Series, and it's a bummer that they got eliminated the way that they did and as early as they did. But now it leads to plenty of conversation about what this Phillies team should or shouldn't do during the offseason. So Jim Bowden wrote a very, very long article in The Athletic. Shout out to Connor Thomas, who is a subscriber, and sent it to me and us as if it was the open to Star Wars. He screen recorded.
Long time ago in a galaxy far, far away.
Is that like where it writes on the
It was
screen?
actually kind of awesome. So I'm going to go. I wrote down notes from it that I'll go through with you guys now. So first and foremost, the DH position obviously will be a big talking point when it comes to Kyle Schwarber, whether or not you would give him 5 years. Now, as Scott Lauber put it yesterday, because he was the one that reported word on the street is he's going to look for 5. But that doesn't mean he's going to get 5, right? I actually saw Phillies Tailgate put out the spot track market values for the free agents. The market value for Schwarber is 4 years, $99.6 million. I think he'll get
25 a year? No way.
I think he'll get more.
He's getting more than that.
But 4 years? Okay, 4 years.
4 years, I think, is what I don't think he's getting 5. Not with the lockout looming.
So Bowden says they should try to bring back Schwarber just because of what he did for the offense and also clubhouse leader. That is something that we can't also ignore, that he's the guy that's in front of the camera more often than anybody else, more often than Bryce Harper, right? So he thinks they should try to bring back Schwarber. However, if they don't bring back Schwarber, he says you got to go after Pete Alonso.
It is absolutely huge to be able to do that.
Now, I will tell you this, because you're worried about the long contracts. Alonso's looking for 7 years, and he turns 31 next year.
I don't think he's getting 7. I think he'll get 6, and you can take him to 37, and I would be fine taking him to 37. I'm fine. I'm not fine taking Trey Turner to 41.
Right.
And taking Bryce Harper to 39.
Right.
No.
Okay.
I'm not worried about Bryce Harper at 36. Being terrible.
No, it's when he's
I'm
in
not
his
worried
40s,
about Trey Turner being terrible at 36. I'm worried about Trey Turner being bad at 38, 39, 40, 41, which you're already on the hook for. And then you're going to sign more old contracts.
Catcher. He says if you were to bring back JT Realmuto, it must be on a 1 or 2 year deal with a pay cut. So he would not give JT Realmuto a 3 year deal near the same amount of money that he's been getting. So he got $24 million over his last 2 year contract. He said it would be 1 to 2 years if he was making the decisions, 1 to 2 years for less.
And the thing is that I don't believe, here's the advantage that the Phillies have. I don't believe JT wants to go anywhere. That if the Phillies gave him a 2 year deal that was really market value, they'd get him.
Yeah, like 18 maybe, 16 to 18.
Yeah, they gave him $35 million over 2 years. 35, 17
Well, that'd be even more than what he's getting now.
How much he had now?
He got 2 for 24 his last deal.
Was 2 for 24?
Yeah. Yeah. So
prices have escalated though.
And so is his age.
It has.
Yeah. I can't be breaking the bank for him.
Yeah. The thing is they're going to do it instead of looking. It's not prudent, but they're going to do it.
All right. He says if not, catchers that he mentions: Hunter Goodman, all-star for the Rockies. Harry Ford, nobody knows who that is. He's the backup to Cal Raleigh.
I do not know Harry.
He's the backup to Cal Raleigh.
I do not know.
He's not going. He was a good prospect, but he's not going to. I mean, Cal Raleigh's not going anywhere.
Right.
The big dumper is like, it's like not Lou Marson. Jeez, it's Logan O'Hoppe. It's Logan O'Hoppe. Like,
but he's blocked.
He's blocked.
Can't move the big dumper.
Right.
No, that big dumper doesn't move easily.
He also mentioned one name that I would vomit. Augustin Ramirez, catcher for the Marlins, power hitter, can't play a lick of defense. You know who he is? Who's the guy? Jorge Alfaro.
Who also ended up in the Marlins, right?
Yeah. A guy that, oh, man, he could swing it. Yeah. But guys steal on him constantly, and he can't block worth a damn. So, no, I'm not going
you can't
from
do that. You can't go
one of the better defensive catchers to a guy that can't field the position well.
You cannot do that.
I'd rather have a catcher who was the guy with the Astros that batted 89, .089?
Oh, God.
Oh, no, I don't.
Maldonado?
No, I don't want that either.
No,
Martin
I know, but
Maldonado.
I'd rather have a guy that can't hit but catches really well than a guy that can hit really well that can't catch.
Okay, well, then what I would ask you is this. Is your backup – is there any way you could go into a season Marshawn Stubbs?
No.
I'm going to say no.
I would not.
The defense is good for both of those guys.
Well, that's
but
what I'm saying.
The
because,
offense
I'm
is
playing,
non-existent.
Well, that's why I was playing to Andrews. Because I would say if you're going Marshawn Stubbs, I would say if you're going both catchers, the Phillies would be in the top 20% of defensive catchers. When you're talking about both guys, I think you're pretty good. If you're talking about both guys, your starter and your backup, you're pretty good. You're certainly not a problem defensively. Your defense is looking pretty good, and then you're taking what you get offensively. Would you do that? Because then I feel a lot less about signing Schwarber to.
Right, I got you.
I feel a lot less because at some point you have to make prudent financial decisions. And signing Real Muto and signing Schwarber and just getting older is not. Having the oldest team in the major leagues in 2026 is not prudent. It might be prudent for a short-term sugar rush. It's not prudent long-term.
By the way, Harper, Turner, not going anywhere. Bryson Stott, he likes Bryson Stott a lot more than I do. He likes Bryson Stott. He did say, though, he would have the Phillies look at Gleyber Torres, who is a free agent. The only thing is, Gleyber Torres was a starter for the Tigers. He's
okay. He's not coming to be a
platoon?
No, he's not coming to be a platoon.
No, you would have to sign a guy that's willing to be a platoon.
Why in the world, though, do you think that the Phillies are so high on Bryson Stott? Can you, if you would, that's one of the questions I'd love to, if there was another follow-up question.
You know what it is? It's the Brandon Marsh upside conversation all over again.
Okay, I'm tired of upside. How old is Bryson Stott?
It's been 4 years. It's been 4 years where he has consistently shown that he can't be an everyday
player. And I don't think he's ascended.
I don't know that it's totally upside. I think they look at their infield and they say, with Bryson Stott, Harper's turned into a Gold Glove caliber first baseman, just got nominated again. But you had a guy learning first base. You have a shortstop who is not a plus defensive option. You have a third baseman who's not a plus defensive option.
His glove's tremendous.
He's your one plus defensive infielder. And that's what I think they like.
I'll say this. If you expand your lineup the way they should have,
you're pushing him down to eighth,
ninth,
then I'm absolutely okay.
Right.
But I'm also okay with I need Stott to be an everyday player with Sosa getting starts.
Yeah.
I'm fine with that. I'm fine with that being your option. Absolutely.
Yeah.
If that's the plan. If it saves you money. Because
Bryson Stott's still cheap. Yeah.
We gotta start to think about cash.
By the way, he says, and thank you, I'm glad somebody's finally echoing what I've been saying for 3 years.
What's that?
They desperately need an improvement at third base. Because you can't have a third baseman hitting 10 home runs.
And you can't go with Suarez, by the way. I have somebody here going, John, you said it, the magic word. Suarez is the guy they got to go after in the offseason. He's 35, isn't he?
So
He's 35 or 36. No, I'm not going to champion that.
he believes the Phillies will move on from Alec Boehm one way or another.
How?
One way or another. He won't be the starting. He does not believe he'll be the starting third baseman next year. So he gives Bregman, Bo Bichette, and Murakami, who is the guy overseas that a lot of people are excited about, but the Phillies have not signed a Japanese foreign player like ever. So we'll see.
Bo Bichette, that's intriguing.
And obviously that helps your balance your lineup.
That's
he can hit
intriguing.
at the top. He can hit sixth.
That's very intriguing.
Instead of batting fourth and pretending like he's a cleanup hitter.
But Bregman, you can't get what's he 32?
Yes.
What are you doing? It's the Golden Girls.
Now, by the way, he thinks whole new outfield. He does not believe Bader's back, based off of what he's hearing. Castellanos gone. Brandon Marsh, he said he would like to keep as a fourth outfielder. But he gives the names Kyle Tucker, Cody Bellinger. Now, my only problem is that's two more left-handed bats. We're running into the exact same issue we ran into last year when you did not have a right-handed power bat. So it's two more left-handed bats. Trade for O'Neal Cruz, and still, these baseball guys love the idea of Luis Robert Jr.
No, but why?
They love him.
Why? He's terrible.
They love him.
Did the Mets not learn that? Didn't the Mets go? Mets got him, right?
No. He never left the White
Chicago.
Sox. They got Cedric Mullins.
Oh, they got Cedric Mullins.
No, Luis Robert Jr. never left.
No,
he's the
terrible.
mystery box that everybody falls for.
No,
Like,
he's
what if
terrible.
he gets out of Chicago? Better environment.
Well, just like Andrew Vaughn, who's now playing for the Brewers. He was trash with the White Sox, leaves, and he's like, oh, wait, I'm in a good situation. These baseball guys love Luis Robert Jr. It's unbelievable.
They keep pushing that.
But he does not believe anybody from the outfield's back in terms of a starting role. Kepler's gone. Marsh will be a fourth outfielder. Castellanos gone. Bader, he doesn't believe will re-sign. So there's your Jim Bowden article. It was a lot, which is why that took the whole segment. So we got the press conference today at 11 o'clock with Dave Dombrowski, Rob Thompson, and I imagine John Middleton as well. All right, coming up next, we'll get back to our text messages. Also, as we start to focus on Eagles-Vikings this Sunday, we still don't know which quarterback we'll see. Hear from Kevin O'Connell next. It's Kincade Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic. 7:12 here on Kincade and Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic. By the way, speaking of Roy Rogers, which will be dropped off today, there's a lot of people in our YouTube chat going, wait, you mean the Roy Rogers in 2025? Yes, Roy Rogers is making a comeback. They never left, but they're making a comeback, and we will have two $50 gift cards to give away to Roy Rogers. Download the Roy's app today and join Roy's Rewards for a free strawberry shortcake just for signing up, plus double points every Wednesday. Enjoy hand-breaded juicy chicken made fresh daily, and don't forget, Roy's gives back 25% through their Force for Good fundraisers to local organizations. I love that. That's awesome. Roy Rogers, beef, burgers, chicken. Two $50 gift cards to give away today. One of them will be No the DeCecco, because Andrew DeCecco will be with us from 8 to 10. So we'll do one. Actually, we'll do both. One in the 8 o'clock hour, one in the 9 o'clock hour. Something that Andrew DeCecco says will be the No the DeCecco question, and that's how you'll win the $50 gift card to Roy Rogers. By the way, you know that basketball season's right around the corner. I just saw Brian Windhorst talking about he is shocked to hear that Joel Embiid should be good to go game one of the regular season.
Was he doing the fingers? What's going on in Philadelphia?
He was not doing the fingers, but he thought that Paul George would be back before Joel Embiid from everything that he had been hearing during the offseason, which, by the way, we didn't hear really anything during the offseason. It just sort of popped up at practice during training camp. The Sixers posted a photo of him practicing. And you're like, oh, wow. Like, he's there.
First of all, I ain't no bitch.
And then he makes the trip to Abu Dhabi, and then he's playing in the one-on-one drills, looks happy, smiling. So JoJo should be good to go next week. Looking forward to it. All right, Kevin O'Connell, head coach of the Minnesota Vikings, at a press conference yesterday. And you'll hear him get a little snippy because there's been a lot of questions for him this week about who his starting quarterback will be. Remember, J.J. McCarthy got hurt in Week 2, and since that Week 2 game, the Vikings have been playing with Carson Wentz as the starting quarterback, and they haven't really missed a beat. Remember, they beat the Bears Week 1. They lose to the Vikings Week 2, and it was ugly, that game against the Vikings. J.J. McCarthy looked really bad. They lost to the Falcons. I'm sorry.
Falcons.
Vikings lost to the Falcons. And since then, Carson Wentz has taken over, and they're 2-1. The one loss being that crazy game overseas against the Steelers, where Jordan Addison, if he doesn't slow down to stare down the opposition as he's crossing the goal line,
there's a great chance that they win that game.
And they'd be 3-0. And then that starts leading to the quarterback controversy conversations because, remember, they won 14 games last year with Sam Darnold because McCarthy was hurt during training camp. Here was Kevin O'Connell yesterday.
Where do things stand as far as your starting QB for Sunday, Kevin?
They stand in the same place they did Monday when I answered that question.
How are you handling practice in terms of reps and between Carson and JJ?
Yeah, they're both going to get work, both going to get reps, and very much looking forward to our whole team getting back out there.
I don't understand the snippy response. Like, you have to ask that question.
That question has to be asked. Why is O'Connell being such a jerk?
I don't know. Like, who's going to be your quarterback Sunday? Have you made a decision? Like, that's a very normal question.
That would be a simple, again, this is one where that's the media doing their job, and that's a coach being an A.
Yes.
He's an ass. That's a jerky response.
All you got to do is, hey, we've not made a decision yet.
Look,
I think that's annoyed that I've got to have the quarterback competition conversation because JJ is supposed to be the guy. Like, annoyed that Carson has looked so good compared to JJ. Like,
I would not be annoyed. I'd be happy that
we're
winning games.
We're winning games. We're playing well.
We talk about it with the Eagles all the time. What was the Keely Ringo conversation? They want him to win that job. They want JJ to win that job.
Oh, no. He wants it because O'Connell's one that he's supposed to be the quarterback whisperer.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I think he's annoyed.
Or you can say, look at what I'm doing with Carson Wentz. I don't know.
Other Andy Reid couldn't make Carson Wentz look good.
Well,
Sean McVay didn't make Carson Wentz look good. I'm making Carson Wentz look good.
Don't forget the one game with the Chiefs was
the backups. Oh no, I get it.
They had traffic cones.
I get it.
At the offensive line. All right, we have a response from Ben.
Oh, okay.
The guy that texted in earlier and said, "It doesn't matter what happens this year. I know they're going to rewrite the ship. I'm still happy they won the Super Bowl." So I had Connor respond to Ben saying, "Hey, what do you like on game days?" Here's his response. What do we got, Connor?
He said, I get mad on game day for sure. Every 4-letter word coming out of my mouth. Your season isn't over until you have 8 losses and 10 wins get you into the playoffs, so I'm not worried yet. The Eagles have the talent to still be one of the teams at the end and still win the Super Bowl.
So he's still confident.
Okay, but that's sort of counter to his first text, though, isn't it?
Well, no, his first text, he believed it was going to get better, but regardless of what happens, he feels confident in the organization.
Nah, that's him. That's him in your bets.
You know,
that is counter to your first thing.
So
you're not if you're talking about 2026, you're not confident in 2025.
Yeah, I would agree. I haven't even thought about 26.
Get off the fence. Get off the fence. Don't tell me about 2026. You got to do one or the other.
So I asked, are there other people out there like Ben and Connor? Pretty much nobody, right?
No. Jamal from West Philly checks in, says, the hell with last year's Super Bowl. I want another one. This fuels me during the regular season.
Yeah, I mean, we're talking about
exactly.
how the D word, dynasty.
Well, you were the one bringing that up.
Wow.
I didn't hear it. I didn't hear it from anybody. But
It
drove me crazy.
If they win again, I wasn't saying it's going to happen, but if they win again, they're a dynasty. Period. But like we can't say in one breath, hey, they could be a dynasty, and then, it's all good, whatever happens. Like, no, not whatever happens. They got to go back there. What else we got?
All right, so we have another check-in on that honeymoon phase from our guy Colby in Central PA, who says, not a chance. In fact, I hope it's the Eagles versus Chiefs again in the Super Bowl so we can kick their teeth in once more.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah, I like that. That's the mentality that I thought we were going to get. I was just shocked that we got the text from Ben. But as we all thought, Ben was probably one of very few people with that mindset.
And Ben backtracked a little bit.
He did.
A little backtrack.
But we appreciate it.
But we know it's great.
Absolutely.
But it backtracked.
All right, so coming up next, John Kincade believes there are 2 myths with the Eagles right now. Is that a good thing or a bad thing? I don't know.
How about I don't believe? It's fact.
All right.
It's not a belief. It is a fact. And I've heard it on our radio station over and over and over again.
Is it a good thing or a bad thing? I'm nervous.
It's a bad thing.
Oh,
so I want to correct the record. These are facts that need to be stated. I hear a lot of excuse making that needs to be corrected.
You know, our topic is what is the boiling point for you, but I'm also trying to give the positive spin that maybe the players admitting that it does feel like 2023 may be the beginning of something good, but
let's just deal from a position of facts. Let's have and discussions from positions of facts, not positions of fiction.
All right, we'll get into that coming up next. It's Kincade Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic. 7:25 here on Kincade and Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic. You wouldn't even guess the conversation I had with my wife yesterday. So it was a beautiful day outside. So we were sitting out back, like just wonderful. I dropped the term foxhole goose.
What?
What? Seriously?
There's 2 flying Vs above that flew over us.
Oh, okay.
And one was like the big pack, right? Like 10-10.
Were they clanking? Like,
oh yeah, they were going nuts. They're flying south or whatever. I don't know what the hell they do, but they're flying. And there was another V that was 4 on one side and only 2 on the other. And one from the big pack said, "I got you." And I watched him exit the one big pack to get behind the other one. And I said to my wife, "That's a foxhole goose right there." She looked at me and I think questioned every decision she's ever made when it comes to marrying me.
she's looking at you like that's a weird comment. I think it's a great study of nature.
Yeah, man.
That's a great study
Nature's
of nature.
awesome, dude.
I think nature's awesome.
Foxhole, that was a foxhole goose.
You know why geese fly in a V like that?
Why?
Because there's the same number on both sides.
What?
There's the same number of birds on both sides. That's why it makes a V.
No, it isn't, because there's one in the front.
All right, you just ruined the entire. I was about to say that Connor would be a foxhole goose, and now you just ended everything.
You weren't gonna say that.
I was. Hand to the Lord. All right, Johnny. What are the 2 myths of the Eagles?
Okay, here's 2 myths that have to go away, and I mean, they have to stop being talked about. And by the way, they have to stop being talked about on our station.
Wow, you're putting your foot down?
Yes, because
who named you program director?
Well, how about this? I'll just be
Johnny Masteller.
I'll just be factual director.
Okay.
Let's stop using these 2 things have been said on our station. And by the way, I've heard them said on weekends. I've heard them said on weekdays. And by the way, they're not said on this show because I'm not letting it be said because the facts don't back it up. Here's some evidence.
What if I said it? Would you fight me?
I'd say to you, you're wrong. Look, we go after each other. We go after each other.
I won't let this happen.
No, we go after each other when people are saying things factually incorrect.
I got you. So what's going on?
The whole Jalen Hurts needs time. The new offensive coordinator, he needs time. Everybody needs to have patience. Everybody needs to relax. Everybody needs to know he's working with the new OC. Okay. 3 of the top 4 passers in the NFL this season through 6 weeks. 4 of the top 7 and 5 of the top 10. But let's just go 3 of the top 4, 4 of the top 7, and 5 of the top 10 passers in the NFL are working with new offensive coordinators in 2025 that they did not know.
Okay. Yeah, I agree with you.
They did not have their playbooks. They did not know them. They did not whatever. And you know what they're finding out? Prescott and Darnold and Darnold.
Yeah.
Prescott, Mayfield, Jones, Goff, Daniel Jones. You know what we're finding out? Is when your offensive coordinator is competent, the plan is competent.
And that's why you and I on the same page preseason. Some of us, unlike Connor, were not patient with the offense because of 10 of 11 starters coming back.
And one of the excuses constantly being offered, and by the way, if I haven't heard it, minimum of 3 or 4 times this week on this station, then I wouldn't say it. Well, look, it's a new offensive coordinator. It's getting his feet wet. They're getting their rhythm. They're starting to learn each other. And again, 3 of the top 4 passers, 4 of the top 7, 5 of the top 10.
Now, the one thing I will ask, all right?
Okay.
Just because I want to also defend my brethren here at 97.5 The Fanatic. How many of those are first-time coordinators?
Well, Dak Prescott's.
Okay.
Dak Prescott's is a former offensive line coach.
Yeah. No, that's fair.
Like Dak
I'm just wondering because, Sam Darnold's
like Dak Prescott,
the coordinator's been there.
Dak Prescott's is a former offensive line coach. I mean, it's here. You're going to now call plays. Never called plays.
That guy will be a defensive coordinator before you know it.
Darnold, Mayfield, but listen to the names though.
Yeah,
it's Prescott, Darnold, Mayfield, Jones, and Goff. So I don't want to hear about first-time offense coordinator or these guys, these quarterbacks. So this is partly on Jalen, partly on the new and partly on the offense coordinator. Here's the second one.
All right, myth number 2, Mythbusters.
Jeff Kerr Thank you from CBS Sports, because he did the numbers that I was trying to find the numbers to be able to compare them perfectly. Jeff Kerr, you did this beautiful work on CBS Sports. Well, last year we were all complaining about Kellen Moore. Kellen Moore's offense was bad too, so everybody needs to realize that. Just go back a year. That was once. I have heard that so often. I have found it on my timeline from people at this station. Dylan McKinnon, who have told me, yeah, last year we were complaining about No, we weren't. We weren't, people.
We were complaining about Hurts more than Kellen Moore.
Last year, this year through 6 games, we're 30th in the NFL in yards per game. Last year through 6 games, we were 10th in yards per game. This year in offensive points per game, we're 18th. Last year we were 17th.
Okay.
Not that much
Comparable.
difference. This year, yards per play, we're 28th. Last year, we were 13th through 6 games. Last year, yards per carry, we were 13th. This year, we're 28th.
Oh, yeah.
Third down percentage, completion percentage. Last year, we were 18th. This year, we're 27th.
It's because it's 3rd and 9 every time.
No. This year's nothing like Kellen Moore. Stop saying it. Stop saying that we were last year, Kellen Moore. It was the sort of same thing with Kellen Moore. No, it wasn't. It wasn't. Kellen Moore was never bad like this. For Kellen Moore, bad was 18th, 13th, 17th, 10th. Not 27th, 28th, 28th, 20. It's 30th. There's no comparison between what Kellen Moore did and what is going on right now with Kevin Patullo. So stop comparing it, because you are spreading lies.
Now, I don't know that it's fair to say we didn't complain about Kellen Moore. If you want to say this is worse, that's absolutely factual.
No, just say there's no comparison between Kellen
but
Moore.
we
We would kill for Kellen Moore right now.
Right, but we did complain about Kellen Moore
I remember
last year.
you saying that he had done less than you expected.
That is absolutely what I said. Absolutely. And I even went back and looked at my tweets.
Yeah.
I went back and did the nerd boy thing and looked at the tweets. Less than I expected, and my points per game thing, where last year through this points per game, we were 17th. This year we're 18th. I complained about the points per game because I expected last year I wanted a top 5 points per game. They came around. They came around and got really, it got better as the season went along under Kellen Moore. Kellen Moore was never like this. Kellen Moore's offensive numbers were never like Kevin Patullo's. So stop comparing them. Kevin Patullo's bottom of the NFL.
Back-to-back great comments on YouTube during your rant there.
I'd say it's a rant.
Kieran goes, this chat definitely complained about Kellen Moore, and Josh responds with, that's all we do around here.
The thing is, here's the thing is, you're
that.
not, if anyone.
At least they own it. That's great.
If you complain, and that's the truth, Connor, you make a great point there. I complained about Kellen Moore that the points per game weren't good. And I also complained about, if you remember, I saw stuff in preseason that I wasn't seeing in the regular season about the creativity, the motion, like all the motion stuff and everything. I wasn't seeing enough of that. But the bottom line is this. Kevin Patullo would kill to be as bad as Kellen Moore was in the beginning of last season.
So you seem to have reached your boiling.
You're past it.
The Patullo thing, I'm beyond.
So do we need to give us a text message on the boiling point? Our main topic that we started the show off with today. If you have not reached the boiling point yet, like John Kincade clearly has.
With Patullo, I'm there.
What is it that would get you to your boiling point? Because the Eagles have lost back-to-back losses, including a loss to the New York Giants, and in just an ugly, ugly loss. And there are a lot of people that are still saying, hey, it's not that bad yet. Like, I'm not worried yet. Well, what would be your boiling point for either concern or anger or vitriol, whatever it is? What is it? What do we got on the text line?
This is John K. from Westchester. No, I'm kidding. But this texter does say, how is everyone's boiling point not right now? We have a horrible cornerback, too. We have no pass rush. The offense has not put a full game together yet.
Here's why. Because there's belief that it'll get turned. And,
I have belief it'll get turned, too, but how much?
Well, that's a great question. So coming up next, as we keep on talking about 2023, whether you feel it or not, we already played the Adam Schefter clip for you, who said, I think we're getting a little ahead of ourselves if we're feeling like 2023. Jeff McClain is in the locker room, does not believe the 2023 bad vibes are sort of escalating through the locker room.
He also doesn't think this 4-2 start is anything like the 2-2 of last year.
Now, what about some of the Eagles players? You'll hear from Jordan Mailata, and we'll tell you what A.J. Brown had to say yesterday as well. That comes your way next. It's Kincade and Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic.
Whether you're at the job site, sitting in your cubicle,
.40 here on Kincade and Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic on this Thursday morning. Don't forget, Andrew DeCecco in for 2 hours. So in hour one, 8 o'clock hour, your chance to win a $50 gift card to Roy Rogers. Hour two, 9 o'clock hour, your chance to win a $50 gift card to Roy Rogers. We have two $50 gift cards to give away. We will be doing Know the DeCecco, something that Andrew DeCecco says in the 8 o'clock hour and 9 o'clock hour. That's your chance to win a $50 gift card to Roy Rogers. I can't wait when the food gets dropped off today, man. I have not had Roy Rogers in a long time. I'm excited.
It's awesome.
I used to love it. Like, that was my parents were the best road trip parents ever. Like, we drove all the time, very little flights. We drove, and I was fine with that because
What are you talking about driving? Like how far? Like Florida?
Yeah, twice a year. because my grandparents used to live down there.
Yeah, we did the Florida thing to Fort Lauderdale.
So twice a year we would drive down to Florida and, rest stops for food. We always had the bag, the fun pack of snacks or whatever, the variety box, right? My dad always did it up. He was great.
How about south of the border signs?
We always stopped there, but we never bought stuff. We just stopped there.
Pedro says you didn't.
We saw it all.
Saw them all?
We saw them all. All right, so 2023 keeps on being brought up, all right?
Yes.
And there's reasons why. Like, it's not just trying. Like, I want to read a tweet, and, like, it's, I'm not offended by it. Ben yesterday. These storylines are overblown for the sole reason the media overblows them. I understand you need talking points that are controversial to get people to tune in and advertisers to spend money. But WTF, just be effing happy about this team for a little while.
Now, what would he say that to Jordan Mailata?
Good question.
Would he say that to Lane Johnson? Because they don't agree with that. They don't agree with what he's saying. So the players in the locker room don't agree with him.
Yeah, Connor.
Yeah, I'm thrilled they got doubled up by the Giants, actually. It's a good point by Ben.
That makes no sense.
What are we talking about here?
What are we being thrilled about?
And look, I'm thrilled that they won the Super Bowl last year.
Yeah.
I would like another one.
That was awesome.
I would like another one. I don't want the party to end.
That doesn't make any sense. Like that rationale does not make any sense.
Now shout out to Brian Knepp, who's listening to the show.
What's up, Brian?
Says, I listen to you guys every morning when I get to work at the school I work at, 6 o'clock. Been listening since day one, and I appreciate the honesty and open conversation and not hearing outrageous takes on certain topics. So I'm glad two people can hear things and hear something.
Different strokes for different folks.
Absolutely. All right, so 2023 gets brought up. Why? New offensive coordinator that looks like he's in over his head. Vibes.
He's drowning.
Vibes have been off. Not created by media, created by players or maybe a player. Anonymous source stories with Diana Rossini. No, she's not just making stuff up. She's getting something from inside the house. Could be the 53rd guy on the roster, could be number one. We don't know, but Diana Rossini is hearing from people or somebody. We only heard anonymous sources back in 2023. So there's a reason why that year keeps on being brought up, okay? But maybe the players think differently. So here was Jordan Mailata outside of his locker during media availability yesterday, talking about how he's not concerned.
Now, football is a game of inches. Sorry, I've always wanted to say that. But, you just got to want it. And I think our focus hasn't been there, quite frankly, and to be really blunt. So it's something that we got to make a choice to every play and every down. So
why do you feel like the focus hasn't been there?
Just the film. You turn the film on, that's just like, okay, we weren't focused here. I'm not going to sit there and ask why they weren't focused. Just like, hey, do your job. Just do your job.
As one of the leaders on the team, how do you address that?
Do your job. I got to do my job. They got to do their job. Everyone's got to do their job, which is why after my the bye week that we had, mini bye week, so I was like, just do your job. Don't look at anything else. Just dominate your box, and everything will take care of itself. If everyone could just do that, that's the message. Dominate your job.
I love that. Just do your bleeping job, mate.
Do you think that message, mate, is being delivered to anybody in the locker room?
Yeah, it could be.
Like, shut up and be a good teammate?
Could be.
Stop making it about you and just go do your job?
It could be.
I think it is. I think it is. By the way, there's a lot of suspects that he could be talking to.
Absolutely. So I gave you a positive spin earlier. So for anybody like our great listener, Ben, who was complaining on social media yesterday about, contrived stuff, since when do you hear contrived positive spins? My positive spin is the fact that they are admitting that there are problems, right?
Yes.
That somebody is saying, even though anonymously, somebody is saying that it feels like 2023. The fact that your legendary right tackle was more vocal about it last Friday. The fact that the voice of your clubhouse, which is Jordan Mailata, right? Jordan Mailata is the Kyle Schwarber of the Eagles. He is voicing his frustration. Maybe this moment of admitting that there are issues, now that they got a little slice of humble pie getting beaten by Jackson Dart and Cam Scatabo and the bad New York Giants.
Oh, wait till next week.
Maybe this was a good thing for them.
I think that could be. I think we could look back and say this was a great wake-up call. You win Sunday, and then you go back and kick the Giants' backsides. We could say, you know what, it was perfect.
Now they better win.
Yeah, you better win. There is but it is though. A.J. Brown.
Yeah, A.J. Brown spoke. What do we got?
This team will be fine. This team is focused. This team works hard. So A.J. Brown is like, this team's fine. This team's focused. This team works hard. I don't know what that truly means, but other than the fact is, I'm not going to read too much between the lines and just say this team is fine. I think A.J.'s saying this team's fine.
Well, he just gets to the point. That's what A.J. Brown does.
And
right?
I don't think there is a reason. I don't believe A.J. Brown is trying to be divisive. There are people who are saying A.J. Brown's trying to force his way out. He's trying to be.
No.
That is not. A.J. Brown is so well liked in that building and so well liked by people around the Eagles organization. I don't believe he's trying to blow things up.
No, it's what we keep on saying.
I think
nobody's disagreeing with A.J. Brown. It's just the way he's going about it sometimes could be problematic.
He lives out loud. And that is something that isn't really appreciated by everybody around pro sports teams. And I don't appreciate it.
I'd rather him live out loud the way he does than Tua Tagovailoa, which we'll talk about later on in the show.
But AJ's a wide receiver one through and through, man.
Yeah.
There's good and there's bad in it.
Yeah, I don't. The thing is, though, you don't have to be. You don't have to be. Like, you couldn't tell me what Calvin Johnson's voice sounded like.
Well, he's a machine.
You couldn't tell me what Jerry Rice didn't talk. Like, I mean, I know people say, well, it's a wide receiver one. Some of the greatest wide receiver ones of all time, you could barely tell me what their voices sounded like. That you don't have to be the diva. You don't have to be the look at me, look at me.
For every Calvin Johnson, I can give you 5 to 10 wide receiver ones that tell you how they're feeling.
All right, who do you want to be? Who do you aspire to be?
I just want my player to be great, and he is.
Do you aspire
great.
to be the all-time greats? Because most of the all-time greats aren't doing that crap.
Deion Sanders all-time great on defense.
Yeah, but he wasn't a diva. Deion.
I'm sorry, Primetime wasn't a diva?
A diva? Deion Sanders was a attention whore, but Deion Sanders was a guy who gave it all. He played both ways, for God's sakes. He played
twice as much diva.
He wasn't. Deion Sanders was literally, you had the Cowboys and the 49ers, everybody dying to say, get this guy on my team. It wasn't, this guy's a problem in our team. It was, get this guy on our team. We want this guy on our team.
What do we got on the text line? We're about to, our man Andrew DeCecco is going to be here soon.
Jeff from D.C. checks in and says, the Eagles told us the honeymoon phase was over when they said they weren't defending champs and canceled Victory Monday. This team is not only not playing well, they aren't having enough fun. They have somehow managed to suck the joy out of winning.
I'm telling you, look, there is something to sports where you need to lighten up, Francis. Bryce Harper, I think, went way too far with the Phillies this year of, no, baseball. We play baseball. And they needed to loosen up. And they finally did later on in the season, but they ended up losing to the Dodgers in the NLDS. The Eagles canceling Victory Monday. Johnny, I said it.
You said it immediately. You caught it.
I freaking hated it.
You hated it.
It's over the top. It's almost high school Harry Hardo stuff.
Well, the whole thing about not being the defending champs, and then you watch the Chiefs documentary, and everything about their building and everything about their whole talking points is, we're the champs, come knock us off.
Yeah.
We're the bullies on the block, come knock us off. It's such a different mindset.
I hated it, and I hope that that's done. I hope that the canceled Victory Monday is canceled.
Nah.
I thought that was too much.
It's not, though.
All right, coming up next. Well, we'll see. They got to win a football game first. Our man Andrew DeCecco will be in studio for the rest of the show. That comes your way next. Kincade Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic.
Now on 97.5 The Fanatic Sports Update.
Searching for a win. I'm Connor Thomas, and, well, the Eagles, they have not been finding wins the past couple weeks, and Jalen Hurts met with media yesterday, and he talked about the search for a win and figuring out an identity along the way.
You know, the goal is to go out there and win, and I think right now we're searching for how can we put ourselves in a position to win football games and do it in a way where we can establish ourselves and have an identity in that.
Now, the Birds did get some good injury news, which could help them get back in the win Collin, Landon Dickerson, and Quinyon Mitchell practiced in a limited capacity yesterday as we looked at the first injury report of the week. Only Eagle that did not practice was Grant Calcaterra, so that's some good news ahead of the Eagles' trip up to Minnesota for a 1 p.m. matchup with the Vikings Sunday in Week 7. The Phillies have a huge press conference today at 11 a.m. as Rob Thompson and Dave Dombrowski will have their end-of-season availability, talk about the plan going forward and what in the world happened this year. We'll be listening closely. And the Flyers take on the Winnipeg Jets tonight at 7 p.m. at the Xfinity Mobile Arena. You can hear that game live here on 97.5 The Fanatic. Andrew DeCecco joins the guys coming up next. He'll stay for the remainder of the show. This update is brought to you by Macy's Backstage. It's a whole department inside your Macy's store where you can find the looks all for under $30 with new arrivals every day. You never know what you'll find. Find a location at Macy'sBackstage.com. I'm Connor Thomas for the home of the Sixers, Flyers, and Union, 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
6:36 here on Kincade Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic on this Thursday morning. Make sure you listen closely. Now until 9 o'clock, and then, of course, throughout the 9 o'clock hour as well. We have two $50 gift cards to Roy Rogers. Yes, that Roy Rogers. Download the Roy's app today and join Roy's Rewards for free. For a free strawberry shortcake just for signing up. Plus double points every Wednesday. Enjoy hand-breaded juicy chicken made fresh daily. And don't forget, Roy's gives back 25% through their Force for Good fundraisers to local organizations. Roy Rogers, beef, burgers, chicken. I know that entices our man Andrew DeCecco. And by the way, questions for DeCecco at 8:10 today instead of today's headlines. So start texting those in now. If you have a question for Andrew DeCecco about the state of the Eagles, about this last game against the Giants, about this upcoming game against the Minnesota Vikings, matchup questions, whatever, start texting them in now at 610-632-0975. That way Connor can put them to the side and have them ready for 8:10. Mr. DeCecco, good morning. How are we?
Good morning, guys. Roy Rogers making a comeback.
Dude,
now
I love it, man.
now let's see if my Nautica competition starts to make a same comeback.
How about that?
Tommy Hilfiger, I'm a '90s guy. I wear all that stuff.
Chess King. Do you still have your Chess King?
No, but I have my big dogs.
Do you have your weaved
I have
belts?
my big dogs. I'm going to be wearing it on Unfiltered. You'll see it.
Your weaved belts. Those are big. You have yarn ties.
The weaved
You have any yarn ties?
No yarn ties. No yarn ties. No fear. Remember that?
Oh, yeah, dude. There's so many good things. All right, you're listening to 97.5 The Fanatic, WPEN HD1 Burlington, Philadelphia, a Beasley Media Group station broadcasting live from the Comcast Business Studio, powering possibilities. So, Andrew, our question today for our audience, and obviously you are a journalist, not a fan, but our question for the audience is, what is the boiling point for Eagles fans, if there is one? Because the Eagles have lost 2 straight games. That last one against the Giants was just despicable. And there are still people that are not panicked or worried or concerned, and they believe it's going to turn. And that's fine. I'm fine with anybody that thinks it's going to turn. They are a very talented group. They're the defending Super Bowl champions. But
I got to hear why.
I would like to hear why. So let's get that why from you. For somebody that would say, I believe it's going to turn, it's going to get better. The offense will no longer have zeros in halves. The defense will get better at cornerback too, and they will get pressure off the edge. Why would those things happen? What's your belief there?
Well, because they have the right leadership in place. And I guess you could look at locker room pillars who have reached the apex before. They know they're able to get in front of it right now. And that's kind of why I don't equate it to 2023. I don't get that impression at all. In fact, being there yesterday, and you kind of get a temperature check, and a lot of the players, I guess you could say the vibes are good. There's a lot of positive energy there, and they believe in what they're doing, and they're trying to band together to head this in the right direction. There's been a primary talking point this week about not assigning blame, but rather trying to identify solutions. And that, to me, is the sign of a mature team that this situation isn't big enough where they can't overcome it.
I was trying to figure out, because that seemed to be a prevailing message last night, watching NBC Sports Philadelphia and some of the coverage. Why all the messaging about not trying to assign blame?
Because
do people in the locker room feel like there's been some finger pointing?
No, but on the outside, there's been a lot of finger pointing and assigning blame, and everyone wants to recognize who the primary culprit is to the shortcomings. But internally, that's not the case. And I think you want to reaffirm that message to ensure that nothing splinters and you keep the collective intact and focus on what you need to do internally and not necessarily pay attention to the outside noise and feed into the finger pointing.
So you said you don't get the sense of 2023. We had Jeremy Fowler on earlier this week. He does a great job covering the NFL. And he spoke to a player after the Giants game and said that player said it is starting to feel like 2023. They got to end that quickly. They got to get that mindset out quickly. Now, that could be one player, right? It could be 5 players, it could be 53 players. We don't know. But I said earlier, I tried doing a positive spin. The fact that they are admitting it now, because it felt like in 2023, they ignored it, right? They just kept winning.
Oh, no, head in the sand.
So it doesn't matter that it looks bad. We're winning football games, whatever. Could there be a world where losing to the Giants, as bad as they did, actually be a good thing for this team to get that slice of humble pie and say, all right, yeah, things are bad right now, and thank God it's only week 6. Let's turn this around now?
Yeah, I suppose. And in 2023, if you want to look back, there were a lot of things that probably got swept under the rug until it was late in the season and there wasn't enough time to correct things. And then you saw what happened in the wild card game in Tampa. This time, you'd realize that you've gotten away with some things over those 4 wins. And then you kind of, I don't want to say it's rock bottom, but you reach a point where you drop a game that you should have handled in the New York Giants on Thursday Night Football. That calls a spring to action pretty significantly. And I think that now that happened and they had the mini bye week, if you're looking, glass half full, that gives them time to go back to the drawing board and make sure that things are rectified so that it doesn't start to become something that does snowball.
Thing is, this has been especially in the offensive side of the ball, these have been the talking points now for, in some way, shape, or form, for 3 or 4 weeks. At some point, I need to stop hearing the talk and I need to see results. It's got to be, and these next 2 weeks have got to be it.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. You can say all the right things, but it's about going out there and executing and getting a game plan together that's going to be conducive to success and not sporadic. You have to be able to play all 4 quarters, and it can't be enigmatic like it's been over the past 6 games. This team is too talented for that to happen. So now they have to go and enact those changes and make sure that they're able to kind of see this through. But based off of everything that I've gathered and my impressions yesterday being there, this is a team that's still very much together. They realize what it takes to move this forward, and now you have to go out there and, as I said, enact those changes.
Speaking of being there yesterday, so Jalen Carter straight up says, I'm playing on Sunday, which is good news. How did Quinyon Mitchell look yesterday? Because I really don't want it to be Adoree Jackson and Keely Ringo, respectfully to both of them, against Justin Jefferson and Jordan Addison.
So we were out there for 5 minutes or so. So we saw Quinyon Mitchell on the stretch line, which obviously is encouraging news considering he was in the Blue Medical tent Thursday night for an extended period of time and then immediately relegated to the sideline. You never saw him again. So a hamstring injury for a corner, obviously that's going to be cause for concern. But the fact that he was limited suggests that he's trending in a positive direction. So I did see him in the locker room. He didn't speak, but he seemed to be, like I saw him laughing and, he was in, upbeat, talking to teammates. So that's encouraging, and they're going to need him. Obviously, the Minnesota Vikings have a trio of pass catchers and Justin Jefferson, Jordan Addison, and tight end T.J. Hawkinson.
Oh, yeah.
And he might be the X factor, in my opinion, if you have Carson Wentz as your starter. We know how heavily he likes to lean on the tight end.
Is it your impression that last week the turf in MetLife was the reason that Jalen Carter did not play?
No, and he said as much yesterday. He said, we have to play here every year, and he mentioned that he was close to playing, which I was fixating on where he was at in terms of pregame, about a half hour before the inactives, and he had a conversation with defensive line coach Clint Hurt. Howie Roseman was there. Drew Rosenhaus was there.
Were you thinking he was going to go?
No, I didn't. Especially when they elevated Gabe Hall from the practice squad to bolster that. I'm like, well, that's 6 defensive tackles. So that makes sense that they weren't going to necessarily push it, especially on a short week.
All right. I want to get into this later, but I can't. I can't wait. What the hell do they do at edge? What do they do? I mean,
that's a loaded question.
Zadarius Smith retires. Nolan Smith still
We've only got
out.
till 10 o'clock.
Okoronkwo is hurt.
Okoronkwo, yeah.
Thank you.
Obo Okoronkwo.
He's hurt. So, what the hell do they do?
I think this is going to be a week where, as I like to say, circumstances tend to alter plans. Yeah. And Vic Fangio has sort of downplayed the notion of deploying Jihad Campbell off the edge in an expanded role, but you may have to. You have to look internally and try to exhaust all of your options and get your best players out there. A lot of that's going to be predicated on whether or not Nakobe Dean's ready to take on a bit more of a workload, and this time defensively, he played 6 snaps on special teams. And if he's able to do that, all of a sudden you have Nakobe Dean on the field, who's a very good run defender. Talk about the poorest run defense against Cam Scatterbo against the Giants. That would be an upgrade there. And then you maybe get Jihad Campbell some looks off the edge, and Zach Bond, too, who's been pretty effective when they've had to utilize him there. And that's a way to get your best players on the field, but also try to fill the void that was left in Zadarius Smith's retirement.
So would you think Vic Fangio would send guys off the like safety blitzes, cornerback blitzes? Like, they got to get pressure on these quarterbacks.
Yeah, it's uncharacteristic that you'll see Vic Fangio typically send a lot of pressure, but this year
Chiefs game
they've had to, and they've sent a ton of pressure. So you have to get creative in how you're going to manufacture that. What we've learned from seeing Carson Wentz as long as we have here in Philadelphia is that he will hold on to the ball a little bit longer than most quarterbacks.
Ball.
That should give you, in theory, an opportunity to get after the passer. But this year, it seems like Kevin O'Connell has implemented a strategy where it gets the ball out of Carson Wentz's hands a bit faster than we've grown accustomed to seeing. So that's kind of a cat and mouse game that I'm looking forward to keeping an eye on.
Do I hear you saying there that you think it might be more advantageous if they faced Wentz than McCarthy?
No, I think it would be more advantageous for the Eagles to play J.J. McCarthy.
Yeah, I want McCarthy. I'm hoping for McCarthy.
J.J. McCarthy, I never quite saw it with him, and when he has been out there, it almost looks like he was dropped into the deep end and is just having trouble acclimating to the speed of the NFL game. And I'm a proponent of giving young players the opportunity to grow. But in this situation for that offense, with how high octane it can be, it makes a lot of sense to go with Wentz.
All right, coming up next, questions for DeCecco. So if you've not sent one in yet, do it now at 610-632-0975. It's the segment where John and I get to put our feet up, and Andrew DeCecco does our job for us. So text them in. Questions for DeCecco, state of the Eagles, past game against the Giants, or upcoming game against the Vikings. Text them in 610-632-0975. It's like the fastest 10 minutes in sports talk radio. That comes your way next. Kincade Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic. is 8:11 here on Kincade Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic, and one of our favorite segments. No, not just because we get to put our feet up and not work, but it's unbelievable how quick,
That's why it's my favorite segment.
How much information we can squeeze out of Andrew DeCecco. It's like when you were doing your grip strength test. That's how much information we get out of you during this segment. It's unbelievable.
Like DeCecco gets every little bit of the toothpaste out of the tooth.
Oh, absolutely, dude. That's why I respect him. All right. Normally, today's headlines brought to us by who, Connor?
Our friends over at Lundy Law for over 70 years. Lundy Law has been fighting for injured people. If you need them, remember the name Lundy Law, your injury lawyers. Visit LundyLaw.com. That's LundyLaw.com.
And now hit the music. Now, here's the thing. Underrated, we talk about how we put our feet up. This is also Connor's time to shine.
Yeah, exactly. He has to pick the right question.
Yeah.
Like, what if the question sucked?
Yeah, this is where Connor and I earn our money.
That's a trend sometimes.
Hey, I'm a shine sharer. I'm happy to share this segment with Andrew.
All right, what do we got?
All right, this first question here. What do the Eagles need to do as a game plan against zone defenses because they struggle against them this year?
Yeah, I think they need to start taking what the defense is giving them and utilize running backs in the passing game. I think they need to use Dallas Goedert more over the middle. A lot of their throws, I look at Devontae Smith, for example, are outside the numbers. You have to be able to not be as conservative, or I should say not be as restricted and take what defenses are giving you and utilize some of your playmakers there to kind of keep the offense on schedule.
Now, my question off of that, is that game plan or is that hurt?
A little bit of both, and I know that's a cop out, but it's never just one. I don't assign blame.
There's a reason why I asked that question, because yesterday I asked a question for audience. Do you guys realize that he's not playing great? I'm not saying bad, not saying trade him.
He's not playing well at all.
It's Hurts, it's the offensive line, it's Kevin Patullo.
Yeah.
There's a lot of factors here, and they have to come together to head this in the right direction.
All right, what else?
Our apologies to one of our texters. They asked the exact question you just asked about whether or not it's Jalen or the coaching, but we'll move on to this one.
You know what that means? That guy can have my job.
Okay, I'll let him know. I'll text him back.
But to expand on that, it's never just one person or one facet of the offense that's not going well. But a lot of this needs to be shouldered by Kevin Patullo, right? I mean, there's getting the plays in on time. The Eagles they still leave a lot to be desired in getting to the line of scrimmage in a timely manner. There's sequencing. Play calling is an art, and he's sort of still finding his way. But when you hear someone like Lane Johnson mention predictability, when Lane Johnson speaks, it's best to pay attention.
John from McCungy checks in, says the guys this morning have been talking about boiling point, and I'm there with the offensive coordinator. When do the training wheels come off for Kevin Patullo, or have they already?
I figured there'd be a lot of Kevin Patullo questions. Look, he needs to be better. But I think this team has built up enough equity to see what they're able to do with a few more days to get this game plan together against the Vikings. That game against the Giants, that could be the wake-up call that they needed. And when you hear a prominent figure like Lane Johnson talk about predictability, it almost implores you to make some drastic changes. So let's see what they do. Let's see what they do against the Vikings and then make a better assessment.
There's been enough subtle commentary from Mailata, from Lane Johnson and everything that I think
Jalen, AJ.
There has to be some. Hopefully, there's some results.
Mini bye. What do we got?
Miguel from Westchester asks, outside of health with the offensive line, what is the number one most concerning thing about their performance so far?
It's in the running game, but this all is derived from the health, or I should say lack thereof, because we talk a lot about Saquon Barkley going into this season and how touching the ball 482 times is going to impact him, that wear and tear. But I don't think enough was made about the offensive line and how the style of football that they played last season has an impact on them as well. And once they're able to get a little bit healthier, I think you're going to see the offense be a little bit more cohesive and rhythmic.
Oh, wait, these have been great questions.
Really good questions.
Our audience is the best. I
Really
love
good-
you guys.
really
I
good
appreciate these questions.
And they know,
Thank you.
who they're asking. They know that it's football guy answering.
This is insightful commentary you got to hear.
What else we got?
Now, I think this is Salciunas sneaking in on the text line because he asked this question
They
yesterday.
bring back Chauncey Gardner Johnson?
I thought they were asking about Nautica Competition Cologne. I was like, yeah, I used to have that. I'm trying to find it. What do you got?
Is it CJ GJ?
Jay from Alabama asks, Andrew, every time Chauncey Gardner Johnson has been on this team, we've gone to the Super Bowl. I know he's got his issues, but why in the world wouldn't they sign him?
No, I think the Eagles are fine. I don't know that you want to bring in someone who's bounced around. The Eagles know what he's about. He's a good player. He's a playmaker. He can take the football away. But they have a young player in Drew Makuba who they drafted in the second round. I think it would be malpractice to bring in someone like Gardner Johnson with the expectation to start, and then now all of a sudden Drew Makuba is taking a back seat, and it's impacting his development. Secondly, I don't know that you want to bring in someone who can be that volatile to a team like this, that they're really focused on getting on the same page. That's been their messaging, and they're trying to head this forward. A loss or two, and maybe he's not happy with his role, and then all of a sudden you have a whole nother set of issues that would be something that you'd be willingly taking on. I don't think they need to do that.
I was led to believe that if it was ever put to a vote, he wouldn't carry the vote to be back.
Yeah, it doesn't make a lot of sense to me.
I just
for a
compare
multitude
him
of
to
reasons.
J-Lo and Ben Affleck. It's just they just keep on getting back together again.
Yeah, but a third time would be unprecedented.
J-Lo and Ben Affleck, third time.
Yeah, that's healthy. I don't know.
Love is love, baby.
See, I don't know about the tabloid stuff.
Love is love. What else we got?
All right, this question from one of the fine folks down in Florida. If Quinion misses this game, should we have Cooper DeJean shadowing Justin Jefferson? Is that something Vic would ever consider?
Vic has always been reluctant. He's poured cold water on that because he prefers to have Cooper DeJean there at nickel for a lot of the responsibilities that he's able to share. But in a situation like this, when you're talking about that kind of receiving core, they're really deep too, by the way. They have Jalen Naylor, Adam Thielen is a backup there, Ty Felton.
Who, by the way, had his way with DeJean last year.
Yeah, and Ty Felton, who was drafted in the third round out of Maryland. I was big on him coming out of the draft, just one catch this year. But because of that, I think you have to put your best players out there. Cooper DeJean on the outside, Adoree Jackson at corner. And again, this is all if Quinion Mitchell doesn't play.
Right.
And then maybe you look at either Parry Nickerson or Mac McWilliams at nickel and kind of go from there. But I think that would give you the best chance to really line up and be competitive.
All right. Probably the most important question of them all. What do we got?
Absolutely. We're inclusive here in this segment. And, Andrew, you're a man who's wise in the ways of the world. One texter wants to know what your favorite pizza is.
Favorite pizza, like topping?
I guess favorite kind of pizza.
My favorite kind of pizza.
Just traditional pepperoni pizza. And I am a very big pizza guy. And
what kind of pepperoni? Do you like the flat? Do you like the cups?
I like the
cups. The cups, or do you like the flat?
I had the cup pepperoni pizza last night from Chickies and Pete's, and it was tremendous.
Is that right?
Now, my favorite pizza area is New Haven, Connecticut.
It's fantastic.
Frank Pepe's, or you go to Sally's. Every time I'm up that way, I have to go there, and I think right now Sally's is at the top of my list.
It was
You're
so
smart,
good.
man.
I tried it for the first time this summer. It was tremendous. All right, coming up next.
I love that question, by the way. Thank you.
The pizza question?
Yeah. All of them.
All of them.
Roy Rogers doesn't have pizza, but I know Roy Rogers won't get here.
I can't wait. Come up next. I want to do something a little different. We're going to, once again, use Andrew the... We're going to use him today for tomorrow's show, Johnny.
I'm an accessory.
I already know what our topic is tomorrow. And I'm curious to get your thoughts on it. Whether or not this game will be the tipping point one way or the other. We'll get into that coming up next. We'll check your text messages as well about the boiling point conversation here on 97.5 The Fanatic. It is 8:25 here on Kincade Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic. Don't forget, know the Checo, both Hour 1 and Hour 2, for your chance to win a $50 gift card to Roy Rogers. I can't wait to have some of that food when it comes in, man. Can't wait. Also, don't forget, we have the Deal of the Week, which is a great one. I used the Deal of the Week last week.
Yeah, what's going on with this?
Legoland. I took Coop. I had a blast. It was a great spot.
Wait.
Plymouth meeting?
Did Coop have a blast or did you have a blast? Like, was it you or Coop having a blast?
I think Coop had more of the blast.
Okay.
But it was a nice place to take him.
It is fun.
Good.
I got to tell you, if you've ever we did Legoland in Orlando, which was wild. I mean, it's wild.
Yeah.
It's fantastic.
It was a good time. I
Okay.
took my little
Good.
boy there. But we have another deal of the week, the Arnold's Family Fun Center. Buy one $50 point card to Arnold's Family Fun Center, and you get one free. Located in Oaks, PA, Arnold's offers action-packed excitement for the whole family, including go-karts, mini-golf, bowling, and much more.
I think Ray Dunn's a fan of Arnold's.
Get this deal now through Sunday while supplies last at 97.5thefanatic.com.
I think he would still go there, yes. I think Ray has frequented Arnold's.
There's no age limit on fun.
Connor would love to
Grow
go
up,
there.
Peter Pan. Come on.
Connor would like to go there and beat 10-year-olds in games.
Yeah.
I'll smoke you in this game.
Step up. They got to learn sometime.
All right, before we get back to our text, I have a question for Andrew the Checker. Now, Andrew, be prepared because what you say will be used for the show tomorrow.
Could be used against you, too.
One way or
just
another.
don't misquote me.
No,
That's all I
it'll
ask.
look.
We'll replay your answer.
We're rolling. Yeah, we're rolling.
We got tape.
We're rolling the tape right now. So we're going to have a topic tomorrow for our audience, but I'm curious to get your perspective on it because you're inside the locker room. You are around the team. You know how these guys feel. You know how these guys act. You know all this stuff.
Uh-huh.
Will this Sunday's game be a tipping point for the Philadelphia Eagles? Now, I'm going to say this clearly. If they win, it'll all of a sudden they'll be great. But not if they lose. If they lose, they're fine. That's why tomorrow, it's going to be a really interesting topic tomorrow because I'm curious what people will say. So do you believe, either way, win on Sunday, now they're going to go off on a great run because they have all the talent. They're the defending Super Bowl champions. The mini bye was another revelation like last year's Week 5 bye week. But if they lose, could there be more of a spiral because now it's 3 straight losses and the mini bye did not have the revelation that we are hoping for. So do you believe Sunday's game against the Minnesota Vikings will be the tipping point game for the Eagles?
Personally, yes. I think if they win this week, that could serve as a launching pad because then they've all of a sudden gotten their swagger back, which wasn't evident against the Giants. But they have to get back to that. If they're able to win, even if it's not so much convincingly, a win is a win in the NFL. That I think would serve them well moving forward. Now, a loss, you're talking about 3 consecutive losses, and there's probably going to be, there's going to be more questions. And I think a lot of it also has to do with how they lose, right? If it's the offense not answering the bell, then there's going to be more questions. But if the offense, I think, holds up and the defense doesn't, I think you can also look at it and say, well, they're light at edge rusher. There's certain moving parts here that I think you can, I don't want to say pardon it, but you can at least understand it a little bit more. But there's going to be questions, no doubt. This is the jumping off point.
All right, so there's your answer. Because I want it to be clear. I need the people to be prepared for tomorrow. It's like I'm giving you the heads up that there's a quiz tomorrow. All right, to start studying. Because I don't want to hear somebody say, yeah, if they win, it's a tipping point. But if they lose, no.
Yeah, you got to have it one way or another. I like one thing, though, is that Giants loss, it's okay when you lose to the Giants for the first time in forever. It's okay to lose a game to them. The fashion that they lost to the Giants, though, was pitiful. That was a pitiful. Yeah. That's the first time, I think, in the administration of Nick Sirianni that I would say the effort sucked. I think the effort was not. The fourth quarter, to me, that effort was bad.
Yeah, I'm never one to question anyone's effort or heart or will. That I don't know if that can be measured, and I don't think that that's fair. I don't go there, but it needs to be better. There was a lot of missed tackles. There was mental and physical mistakes, and they didn't get from the beginning of that game. They were overmatched for whatever reason, and it's not often that you see an Eagles team that gets out physicaled. In fact, it's quite rare. So I'm expecting them to. They had the pads back on. They had the shoulder pads back on yesterday, and after a week of not doing that, So I believe you're going to see them get back to the style that they've played, being the bully, having that swagger, and sort of taking it to teams.
Correct me if I'm wrong. Vic Fangio said Adoree Jackson will once again start if Quinyon Mitchell plays. I got to ask, like Keely Ringo, the mistake that he made, mental mistake, not physical mistake, right? The mental mistake of not touching the guy while he was down, just acting like the play was over. That does not go well in any locker room, I imagine, or any defensive coordinator meeting room. But like for a guy like Vic Fangio, how do you think he reacts in the meeting room when they go over that tape?
Not well, because this is now his third season, and it's a live ball. You have to have the presence of mind to tag the receiver down and not allow extra yards. But he also gave up a 34-yard completion, a little Jordan Humphrey on that first drive that was a 34-yarder on a 3rd and 12.
Little Jordan Humphrey.
Yeah, I mean, you have to be able to play the ball better when it's in the air. He got kind of mossed there. But there's been some of those mental lapses that are kind of inexcusable, I think, for a third-year player who's now been there working with the same position coach for over a year now. Adoree Jackson has been the better corner, and that was also very apparent when he entered the game Thursday night. It wasn't perfect, but I think if you're Vic, you feel a little bit more comfortable with him out there. Doesn't necessarily give you the size and the physicality and the linear speed maybe that Keely does, but he's an awful lot better moving side to side, the fluidity and the transition.
All right, Connor, what do we got on the text line? What are the people saying about the boiling point discussion we had earlier in the show?
All right, so Kaleem from Northeast checks in, says, my boiling point will be at the bye week. If we aren't 6-2, looking better offensively, that's where it'll turn.
So they got to win the next two games.
Well, no, if we aren't 6-2, well, then his boiling point will come Monday.
Well, yeah.
Technically, yes.
If they lose, right.
If you lose Monday.
He's on a roll. Let him go.
Yeah, forget it. He's rolling.
Now, when I asked you the tipping point conversation, there is obviously context to losses. Like if Quinyon Mitchell can't play, they lose 33-30, you're going, all right, at least the offense
that's what I mean.
If the offense looks great.
Yeah.
If the offense looks great in Minnesota and you lose a tight game, I'm not going to be as alarmed.
Yeah, the storyline and the personality of the game does matter, at least in my estimation.
Right. But
if the offense looks like they're starting to figure things out and they're more reminiscent of the unit that they were last season or even the year before that, I think that's going to quell some concerns.
Yeah, but this be a tough matchup, man. Brian Flores, he's another guy that knows how to go up against Jalen Hurts.
Well, he's going to throw a whole bunch of different things at Jalen. But what I will say is Jalen's handled the blitz remarkably this year.
Sure.
But then you see a lot of these defenses, they completely abandon the initial game plan, and then in the second half, you're seeing a lot more zone and things like that.
Tampa.
And they haven't been able to adjust.
All right. Give us another text message, Connor.
All right, this is my guy here. Sean checks in, says, my boiling point will be if they lose to the Giants again, which is exactly where I'm at.
So you could lose to Minnesota. So we could lose to Minnesota. Doesn't matter? If you lose to Minnesota and lose to the Giants, you're 4-4, and your season is a dumpster fire.
Well, we've talked about the world where the offense gets going in Minnesota, and for somehow you just lose a game on a road against a team that isn't terrible. But if they lose to that Giants team again, that's where I'm like,
if this team's 4-4,
they could. Maybe he thinks they're going to beat the Vikings, but then if they then lose to the Giants a second time, it's like, oh my God, what's going on here?
Well, that's not going to be a trap game, okay? Right. I mean, like if the Eagles go out there and they beat the Vikings, the Giants aren't coming into Lincoln Financial Field sneaking up on anyone, right? The Eagles are going to know they're going to want to get that bad taste out of their mouth from a couple of weeks before, and they know how to play them.
I'm going to warn you right now. After the way the Giants handled that win, the Cry Eagles Cry. Tweet from their spot or whatever, they were like, buy Eagles, buy.
Okay.
All that stuff. I swear to you, if the Eagles don't come out and just stomp the bug next Sunday, I mean, just stomp that team. That's going to tell me.
You want them to treat them like lantern flies?
Yes.
Well, it's not a big mystery about what they're going to try to do. They're going to try and get Jackson Dart maneuvering the pocket and make plays outside of structure, and then Cam Scatterbo getting downhill.
Football guy Kincade said it the day of the game. I was like, come on, this is the guy. This is what he's going to do. And he did it. He did it all night long. And they had no plan for him.
Did you just give yourself a nickname?
Yeah, I just added.
You ripped Bryce Harper for it.
No, I'm mocking you guys who were the football guy crap. I said I saw it a mile away. Nobody was worried about Jackson Dart. He was the one thing I worried about.
Don't you mock the football guys.
What was John's new nickname for Harper that he coined the other day?
The greatest no-show.
Yeah,
the greatest no-showman.
Yeah,
well,
that's cute.
Has certainly kept.
Coming up next, speaking of football guy, John, about an hour ago, John Kincade talked about 2 myths with the Philadelphia Eagles. How does Andrew DeCecco feel about them? We'll get into that next. It's Kincade and Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic. It's 8:40 on Kincade and Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic. Our man Andrew DeCecco with us. We will give out our first Know the DeCecco question right around 8:55 for your first $50 gift card to Roy Rogers. We got 2 to give away.
$50 to Roy Rogers.
Yeah, no, that's freaking awesome.
Dude.
All right, so earlier this morning, a little over an hour ago, John Kincade put his foot down. Damn it.
I'm tired of it.
I heard it was around 7:20.
Yes.
Very good. Thank you for being a P1.
He put his foot down. I'm tired of it. I'm not having it anymore. This
I'm tired
station,
of
there
it.
are people on this station that keep on speaking with.
Now I had to turn the volume down because John was screaming.
I was not happy.
It was awesome. The floor was his. He danced. You know, it was like Pulp Fiction, man. You were out there.
We talk about wanting to be the station that is the station that Philly fans can turn to hear real talk, real substantive conversation. So
honest, insightful.
So it is then our responsibility to not let false stuff be perpetuated over and over again. And that is why I kept hearing it, and I'm just like, okay, I can't hear this anymore. I can't hear this anymore. Not on our station. Can't do it.
How did it feel to let it out?
It felt good. It felt good because I just don't the amount of time I'm going, how many quarterbacks in the NFL are working with new offensive coordinators this year? So guys that are walking into the same situation that Jalen Hurts did. A new offensive coordinator, and some of them with new offensive coordinators who never called plays, like Dak Prescott. Dak Prescott, a new offensive coordinator who used to be an offensive line coach, who'd never called plays, now making the jump to offensive coordinator. And I see that 3 of the top 4 passers in the NFL are working with new offensive coordinators. 4 of the top 7 passers, new offensive coordinators. 5 of the top 10 passers.
Who are the 3 of the 4?
Prescott, Darnold, Mayfield.
And the big thing for Darnold.
And then Jones and Goff are the other 2 that are
the big thing for
Baker
Darnold.
Mayfield's been great
He's been fantastic.
He's been fantastic.
The big thing for Darnold, he's also doing it with a new team.
And you know what?
Jalen's doing it with a lot of the same players.
Here's what I didn't give you the first time, because this is really damning. Hurts is behind Mac Jones, Spencer Rattler, Tua, and Caleb Williams after 6 weeks too. That is a disgrace that the Eagles passing game and the Eagles offense, with all of the advantages they have, is behind Spencer freaking Rattler, Tua. I mean, that's unacceptable.
Oh, man, that Rattler Olave connection.
That's unacceptable.
You can't beat it.
That's Kellen Moore working with. Kellen Moore went into a dollar store and put together an offense that is outperforming in a passing game that's outperforming the Eagles. How can that be? That's disgraceful. And then also, too, the fiction that I've heard over and over again. Well, last year we were all upset with Kellen Moore, so this is just like it. Everyone's just got to be patient. 6 games in. Thank you, Jeff Kerr ran some numbers. I got some of these from Jeff. 2024, at this point, Eagles were 10th in the NFL in yards per game. This year, they're 30th. Their third down percentage, they're 27th in the NFL. Last year, we were 18th. Yards per play, last year, we were 13th. This year, we're 28th. Stop saying it's like Kellen Moore's offense. It isn't. It isn't.
But to be fair, I remember you not being overly enthused with Kellen Moore's offense.
And I said why I wasn't, though, when I even went back to the tweets. I didn't like the lack of creativity.
Right.
I expected more creativity, and I also had put a thing where I wanted them to be a top 5 scoring offense through 6 weeks. Kellen Moore's offense wasn't 28th, 30th, 27th, 28th. Kellen Moore never sniffed that.
But there was a lack of innovation in terms of the passing game, aside from the Green Bay Packers game where I thought they opened things up a little bit more. But let's not lose sight of the fact that they deviated from their approach and became a run-first team because it was disjointed in the passing game. A lot of the similarities in terms of being a compressed offense and getting to the line late, a lot of these things are still prevalent, but it was a little bit more. They had a little bit more synergy to it.
They did that.
I agree with that.
They did that week 5 and week 6.
Right.
Of Kellen Moore. So this was 6 games of data. So 6 games of data.
Yeah, but
they didn't do 6 games.
You can look at stats and all that. You have to also look at the complexion of the offense and certain intricacies and nuances. And the bottom line is that the passing game left a lot to be desired last year too. And there was a lot of similarities in terms of the route concepts and all of that. And you didn't see as much motion and things.
They were
so. I know you ran the numbers and all that.
Well,
but
how about this? 4 through 6 games last year. Third down conversion passing. Jalen Hurts was 48% passing. This year he's 21%. last 3 weeks, on third down completions, to compete for a first down, 21% passing completion rate. He was more than double that, almost 50%. Like, there's a lot of things that point to it. This is nothing like when Kellen Moore. Kellen Moore being mediocre, we were at 13th, 17th, 18th. We were middle of the pack or better. Like,
middle of the pack's still not good, though.
Oh, I know, but that was considered bad. Like,
it's worse this year.
28th.
Period. It's worse this year.
28th, 30th. That's bad. That's like pitiful.
I mean, I don't need numbers to tell me. Like, I watch a lot of football. Right. I talk to enough people. The offense to start last season wasn't very good either, but it's significantly worse right now.
Yeah,
and that's a problem.
Now, I will say last year I was more frustrated with Hurts those first 4 weeks. Like, I thought they had to go to the ground game, a lot of his doing more so than the play calling. Like, that's how I felt last year. This year, you keep on saying collective because I think you're right. Like, Hurts has not been spectacular. The offensive game planning is I think it's wretched. And they're talking about how it's predictable. The players in-house are talking about the predictability. So it's different context this year versus last year. Last year, I was more disappointed with what Hurts was doing the first month of the season.
Right, and that's fair. This is a collective, and they do have to get vastly improved offensively. And a lot of it falls on the OC. No one's suggesting that otherwise. But there's other components to this that need to be taken into account, such as the health of the offensive line, the inefficiency in the running game, which is their foundational approach offensively. If you can't do that, you're really tipping your hand and making yourself one-dimensional to a facet of the game that isn't necessarily jiving right now.
I got to correct you on that one. There are many people doing mental gymnastics to try to convince you that Kevin Patullo doesn't deserve a lot of this blame and that all these other people are just as much to blame as Kevin Patullo. There's a lot of people literally going to throw out their backs trying to spin a Kevin Patullo story when the guy clearly appears overmatched. And if I have to hear, I can see when Dan Orlovsky and Emmanuel Acho can show you just video and compare it to can show you videos and just compare plays to plays of teams and show you how they design plays and say, this is rudimentary.
Yeah, but I would just push back a little bit here because there's been opportunities this season for explosive plays. If Jalen and Devontae connect on that deep ball, that's an 89-yard touchdown. Right. If Grant Calcaterra is able to hold off Jalen Watson to start the game against the Chiefs, A.J. Brown streaking down the other side of the field, and that's an explosive play. The Broncos game, if A.J. and Jalen are on the same page there, that's a touchdown, and they're up 24-3.
They win.
And all of a sudden, the narrative surrounding Kevin Patullo isn't quite the same as it is right now.
Well, how about what does that mean for the worst 3-and-out? They're the worst 3-and-out offense in the NFL.
But you now have then you see explosive plays to his name, knowing that they could do that.
You're right. You're right about that it would look great. Those would be sexy and exciting. But I'm looking for meat and potatoes. I'm looking for basic stuff out of a guy who has the best toolbox in the NFL. Convert freaking third downs.
Yeah, but that's
third down conversions.
I mean, he has
the bottom of the NFL.
I understand that, John, and I feel like we're talking in circles every single week about this. He shoulders a lot of this, but it is a collective, and they all have to execute better when the plays are there to be made.
So coming up next, I do have a question because he was asked about the Lane Johnson comments, the predictability. Kevin Patullo was, and the answer was like just a bunch of words. But he talked about playing behind the sticks. Mm-hmm. That is a constant that needs to change. We'll get into that coming up next. It's Kincade and Salciunas. Andrew DeCecco with us. We'll ask our first Know the Show question for the $50 gift card to Roy Rogers next here on 97.5 The Fanatic.
Now on 97.5 The Fanatic Sports Update.
Eagles hopefully getting healthier. I'm Connor Thomas, and the Eagles got some tentatively good news on the first injury report of the week yesterday. Landon Dickerson and Quinyon Mitchell practiced in a limited capacity. The only Eagle that did not participate in practice was Grant Calcaterra, and health is an important thing to have at this point in the year, but winning is even more important, and it's been elusive for the Eagles for the past couple of weeks. So Jalen Hurts talked in his media availability yesterday about getting back to the Eagles' winning ways.
You know, the goal is to go out there and win, and I think right now we're searching for how can we put ourselves ourselves in a position to win football games and do it in a way where we can establish ourselves and have an identity in that.
Well, searching is one thing, but you better hope they find it against the Vikings this Sunday. The Eagles go on the road to Minnesota to face them at 1 p.m. this Sunday for their Week 7 matchup. The Phillies have a huge press conference today at 11 a.m. as Rob Thompson and Dave Dombrowski will have their end-of-season availability. The Flyers take on the Winnipeg Jets tonight at 7 p.m. at the Xfinity Mobile Arena. You can hear that game live here on 97.5. The Fanatic and Andrew DeCecco remains with the guys for the remainder of the show. This update is brought to you by Fox One. Fox One is your home to stream live sports from NFL on Fox to Big Noon Saturdays, NASCAR, and more. This week, don't miss your Nittany Lions take on Iowa. Download the Fox One app to stream. Fox One, live sports, streaming now. I'm Connor Thomas for the home of the Sixers, Flyers, and Union, 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
It's 8:55 on Kincade and Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic. We just devoured some Roy Rogers, man. Roy Rogers breakfast sandwiches. I just had the sausage, egg, and cheese on the perfectly buttered biscuit. You guys both wanted what, the chicken?
I did the chicken biscuit.
Yeah, chicken biscuit.
It was delicious. Light, first of all, lightly fried chicken. So not it was sort of like that, almost like tempura fried. Not the heavy
So you're not
fried.
going to fall asleep in 3 hours.
And the biscuit, nice and light.
Dude, there's
that is
quality.
and look, you live in the South, you know good biscuits. You live in, as long as I did down there, you learn that the biscuits, it's an art.
And by the way, the folks couldn't have been nicer that dropped off.
Really good stuff.
Incredible people. So really excited to give out our first of two $50 gift cards. So know that to Checo, hour one, the question somebody asked what his favorite style of pizza is.
So there you go.
That's the hard-hitting question.
First person to get that right at 610-632-0975 on the text line. Just got to text the correct answer.
I would love to know who asked that question.
610.
I like that they did
You saw
that.
the name?
There's no name on it.
All right. Well, the first person to get the question correct will win our first of two $50 gift cards to Roy Rogers. You got to check it out. Such a great item that we just ate. Right now, download the Roy's app today and join Roy's Rewards for a free strawberry shortcake just for signing up. Plus double points every Wednesday. Enjoy hand-breaded juicy chicken made fresh daily. And don't forget, Roy's gives back 25% through their Force for Good fundraisers to local organizations. Roy Rogers, beef, burgers, chicken. I got an incredible email from a guy named Charles Wade.
In charge.
My best friend growing up in Pottstown, his grandfather, NFL player Gino Marchetti, opened the first Gino's restaurant, then sold it to what became Roy Rogers.
Yeah, ours was a Geno's and then became a Roy Rogers.
So we have historic people listening to the show today, which is just spectacular. Love it. All right. When Ken Patullo was asked about the predictability of the offense, he talked about how a lot of it is it's context because we start behind the sticks. Well, then stop going behind the stick. So 1st and 10 can't constantly lead to 2nd and 12 or 2nd and long, whether it's pre-snap penalties, whether it's just a play that's knocking them back, the ground game's not working. What do you think that issue is? Like, I get it. When it's 2nd and 15, you know what might happen, or 3rd and 20, you might know what's happening. You can't be predictable in 1st and 10.
Yeah, even A.J. Brown said this yesterday, self-inflicted wounds. But the Eagles are predictable in the sense that if it's first down, it's going to be a run up the middle with Saquon Barkley. We've talked about a lot now about how the running game hasn't necessarily performed to standard. That's putting them behind the sticks, and you're forcing yourself to become one-dimensional. And then you start to get into a rut because things start to sputter, and that's why you're seeing the offense go through these lapses. On the contrary, when they are in the red zone, they're very effective.
Oh, yeah.
So it's kind of a Jekyll and Hyde. You don't often see that big a disparity, but here we are.
But when it's predictable, when your offense is predictable, as far as they're doing the same things all the time out of the same formations, that speaks to me of a guy who doesn't have the experience to mask what he does, because the leaders in the NFL of throwing out of running formations and running out of throwing formations are the Shanahans, the McVays, those offenses. So it shows me that when you're doing what's predictable, it's inexperience.
You say that, but that's not the sentiment that a lot of the prominent players on that side of the ball have expressed, namely A.J. Brown, Lane Johnson talking about how he's with Kevin Patullo till the end and things like that. I mean, you could look at it in a number of different ways. That's what they're comfortable doing. But they have to get better. They do. They have to get better. There has to be different things you can do. If the running game's not working, maybe, go more 11 personnel, add another player there that you can now feature in the passing game, but you also force defenses to spread out a little bit more, and there's more running lanes in theory. Maybe you're implementing someone like, I don't know, a Will Shipley in the passing game, get him going on some wheel routes to add some more optionality in the passing game. Or Cam Latu, if you're going to go 12 personnel, which is 2 tight ends, you have him more as an inline blocker because Kylan Granson and Grant Calcaterra, who missed last week, they're not as equipped to do it. So there's certain things from a personnel standpoint that they can do even in their groupings, to make things a little bit more easy.
Well, in sports, any sport that you played, any sport that you coached, what's the easiest thing? If I knew as a coach or as a player what someone was going to do, it was easier to defend.
Sure.
If I know what you're doing, if I know your formations, if I know
unless you're that dominant,
if I know
last year.
Last year they were, but when you're not, you got to start to mask stuff. You got to start to.
Saquon Barkley said it perfectly after the game. He said we were predictable last year. Everyone knew we were going to run the football, and that didn't stop us from being able to do what we want. At their core, the Eagles want to go back to playing a bully ball style. They want to be able to dictate how the defense plays them, and they've gotten away from that. Needless to say, they once they're able to kind of, I guess, tap back into that DNA, that offensive DNA, you're going to see a lot more things open up. But right now, they're at a disadvantage in the running game. They're at a disadvantage right now in terms of play calling, and the quarterback play has to be better as well. They have to execute when plays are there to be made, because you can point to a number of different games this season where their narrative is going to be different if they're able to connect on some of those.
You're listening to 97.5 The Fanatic, WPEN HD1 Burlington, Philadelphia, a Beasley Media Group station, broadcasting live from the Comcast Business Studios, powering possibilities.
Time now for the Kincade Salciunas Re-Rack.
What is the boiling point for you? And the reason why I ask that question is because there are a lot of fans doing what fans do, and I love it, where, again, somebody on the outside says something about their teams and they get angry, but we complain about the Phillies or the Eagles all the time, right? And there are a lot of people that want to ignore the fact that the last two losses have happened. So when I say boiling point, a loss isn't even the boiling point for people.
Let me get to that, clarify with you. What do you mean ignore? You think people are ignoring the losses?
I think they're just saying,
or are they trying to downplay?
They'll be fine. Yeah, sure, downplay.
Well, there's a lot of that going on. There's a lot of this, oh my gosh, sports radio trying to make it big again.
Right, I saw that. I saw that yesterday.
Trying to make it big. This team's fine. It's funny if you hear these players talk about it, they're a lot more concerned than those people are.
Right.
They're a lot more concerned in this Eagles locker room than there is. And they're saying it's got to change, and it's got to change quickly.
The Jalen Hurts discussion, there's a lot of people that say Jalen Hurts can do no wrong. There's people that are saying that the offensive line is fine, or this team will just turn. It'll get better. And you can totally have that opinion and that belief. That's why we asked the question yesterday. Just give us a reason why you think it. But I wonder what the boiling point is for somebody watching this Eagles team, because for some, 2 straight losses was. Like, for some, me, you.
It's beyond.
That loss to the Giants Thursday night was abysmal. Now, I know a lot of people weren't locked into it because you also had the Phillies extra inning game
going on at the same time.
Ended the series against the Dodgers. So a lot of people watched the Phillies, maybe didn't even watch the Eagles. And if they did, the Eagles were on maybe your smartphone or they were on your laptop because the Phillies took precedence that night because it was a playoff game. And I think a lot of people thought, they'll win this game against the Giants. Thursday Night Football, they'll take care of this.
No, there was a lot of arrogance going into that game. And by the way, king of arrogance was
us included.
Oh, I was right there. Give me a crown.
Didn't we say like 34-17?
I thought a 17-point win.
Exactly.
Yeah, I thought a 17-point win. Just didn't see the right team wearing it.
So, boiling point, I think we've reached it where we're starting to get concerned here on the show. Except for Connor. I don't know. Are you there? Are you getting?
Yeah.
All right, so you're getting concerned. I wonder what that moment will be for Eagles fans. Now, hopefully that moment never happens, right? But what would your boiling point be with this team? Because there is a lot of excuse making or ignoring or downplaying, to your point, John. And I wonder what could be that moment for people. So you can climb in at 610-632-0975. Now, there were people yesterday that gave pushback on the 2023 narrative, and not fans, media members.
Yes.
So yesterday, we had our man Adam Schefter on, who joins us every single Wednesday at 7:55. And when we asked him about the feeling of 2023, this was his response.
There are absolutely issues. We know all is not right. We know there are things to correct. We know this team has looked off. They're not fun. They've still won the 20 of 22 games. They're still 4-2 this year. Like, I understand that they've got issues. And I think last year they were 2-2. And got everything straightened out before making the run they did. And this team has not looked like last year. And this team has looked off. And this team does have corrections to make. But I just think that we're probably getting a little bit more worked up than we should be at this point in time. Like, there's still 11 games to go. There's still a lot of talent on the roster.
Now,
okay, here's what I'm just going to tell you right there. No, not taking it this time around. After 2023, I'm not taking these talking points.
right.
I'm not going to be just told, for God's sakes, ignore what you're seeing. They were 10-1. That team was 10-1. And we were seeing the warning signs. And we would come in on Mondays and people would be like, oh my gosh, can't believe these guys. They won. They're winning. For God's sakes, give it a rest. When in reality, the people who saw the cracks, the people who saw the foundation cracking were right.
Now,
So-
I got to give Shefty credit, though, because last year, Andy, you and him went back and forth a lot where he would yell at you and say, get over last year. It's not last year.
Sure.
They ended up winning the Super Bowl. So we've seen both sides of the coin. It doesn't mean this year is last year, and it doesn't mean it's necessarily
Now,
23.
I will say this, and you know I love Shefty. We have him on every week, and I love our conversations with Shefty. There is something to being on the outside.
That is correct.
How many people on the outside picked the Phillies to win the World Series? A lot of
bunch.
people did. Like
A lot did.
How
Yeah.
many? Like you look
a lot
at
did. They were the favorites. They were the betting favorites to win the World Series. The day the postseason began, they were the betting favorites.
because a lot of people just looked at the roster, did not know the flaws, that we have been seeing, and so they just look at the roster. They go,
Oh,
Schwarber,
the
Turner,
Phillies.
Harper,
Oh my
Realmuto,
gosh, Phillies should win. Yeah.
Cy Young candidate Christopher Sanchez. How are they going to lose? They're winning the World Series. A lot of baseball people. Well, I'm not even talking fans. I'm talking baseball people.
Yes.
Pick the Phillies to win the World Series. When we live it a lot closer than those national people, so respectfully to Adam Schefter, he tells me to relax. I don't think he's locked in on the Eagles every single week the way we are. I'm sure he checks in. I'm sure he follows storylines, but he's got 18 other games to pay attention to over the course of a weekend, right? He's got so many storylines to pay attention to over the course of the weekend. So I understand where he's coming from, but again, the on-paper thing, look at all the talent on the roster, sometimes does not overcome a lot of the flaws or issues or cracks, as John says. So our question today, 610-632-0975. What would the boiling point be for you if you have not hit that moment yet? Now, look, you may believe it's going to turn, and that's fine. But all I want you to tell me is if there were a boiling point, what was it?
If I gave you 1 to 10, that it's going to change, that it's going to be fine. I think where do most people end up? Where do you think most people end up? That's a question.
I think most people think we'll
like
return.
a 7?
like 6 or 7.
No,
yeah.
Yeah, that's what I say. Like, I think most people are at like a 7, but they're not at a 10.
A lot of people don't want to admit that it's bad right now.
Right.
For players, individual players, groups, a lot of people don't want to admit it. So coming up next, not only is Adam Schefter trying to tell us to relax a bit, what about a man that is inside that locker room all the time? Here's someone that a lot of you out there complain about who gives a positive story next. It's Kincade Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic.
The Fanatic's Andrew DiCecco, the Philadelphia Inquirer's Jeff McClain, and ESPN's Tim McManus. The best Eagles minds in the city, keeping you informed with all the latest news and analysis. You only hear them right here.
final hour of Kincade Salciunas is presented to you by The Bagster. It's a dumpster in a bag. You can get yours today at Home Depot and Lowe's. You need details? Go to Bagster.com.
All right, yesterday, our man Jeff McClain joined us, and obviously a big part of the conversation was about the feel of 2023, whether or not it's in the locker room. So I want to play this for you guys, and then I want to get Andrew's analysis on, not just X's and O's, but it's the feel, it's the vibe, it's the way they're acting, at practice. So here was Jeff McClain on with us yesterday, talking about the idea that 2023 is not spreading in the locker room.
No, I don't think so. From what I've gathered, and I did talk about this on my podcast, I felt like after the loss to the Broncos in that home locker room at the Link, it did feel like someone had been shot. And I felt like, well, that was odd to some extent because, they're just 4-1 and it was a bad loss. I think that might have had a little bit to do with the fact that they just hadn't been losing much and, they hadn't lost in a calendar year with Jalen Hurts as the quarterback, at least in a game that he finished. So I think that was, but it also might have been a kind of like a collective, like coming to grips with like, oh, okay, those first 4 games where everyone was telling us that we weren't really as good as the record indicated, maybe we aren't close to that. So, and I think maybe that had kind of spilled over to the short week of practice, and that's why part of the reason why they didn't perform in New York.
So someone getting shot.
Yeah, it was a good line.
It's a very specific,
It definitely was somber after that game. And needless to say, it's uncharacteristic that the Eagles lose games. So they had to come to terms with, some of the things that we've been getting away with earlier in the season caught up to us. So and they have to, it was sort of like a reality check.
What was it like after the Giants loss? Because you were there.
Yeah.
What was the locker room like? Was it somber? Was it anger? Was it, we got this? Like,
searching for answers. It wasn't, there wasn't a lot of anger. There was, a little bit of frustration because they know how good they can be and what some of the issues are. So you listen to what some of the prominent members, especially in the offensive side, had to say. And I was in on Saquon Barkley, Lane Johnson, Dallas Goedert, and players like that. And, they'll be the first to tell you that the sky is not falling. They're 4-2, and everything that they want is right in front of them. Everything that they need is inside that building. Now it's about, we talked about this a lot to start my segment, it's about enacting the change and getting things rolling in the positive direction. But it was more so, they didn't expect to lose to the Giants. The Giants were the more physical team, and you can't often say that. And again, that felt more like a reality check. Like they have to snap out of it and get things rolling before things spiral out of control.
Little arrogance, maybe a little athletic arrogance. We're so used to beating them. They beat them so often.
I don't even know if it was that as much as it was all 3 phases did not perform well. You look at special teams. It was the kick returns. The first kick return of the game, Tank Bigsby and Will Shipley run to the same part, and they have to say, I talked to Tank Bigsby about this yesterday, that you have to say me, and then they had a conversation for communication purposes. Tank Bigsby muffs a kick. He gets it out to the 7. A.J. Dillon fumbles a kickoff at the 5. The defense, they had a collective breakdown. Offensively, they weren't good enough in any of the 4 quarters. So I think it was more so you can't point to the defense or the special teams uplifting the offense like they've done so many times over the course of the first 6 games. It was more like, we got to fix this. This was a breakdown on all 3 phases, and we have to fix it fast.
I hear a lot of, your eyeballs are telling you this is going to get fixed. I don't want to. I'm not putting words in.
No, I believe that it is going to get fixed. Which, you talk to enough people, you're able to kind of get that temperature check. Yesterday, for example, there was a team that was very much together, and in 2023, I don't necessarily think that was the case. Right? I mean, I go back to that game that they won on Christmas where they beat the Giants. Didn't feel like they won.
Right.
And a lot of players went their own way. This is different. And with Nick Sirianni helming this thing, who prioritizes culture and unity and, coming together. And that sounds, folky and all that, but that's the reality of it. That he has a good pulse and he does know how to push the right buttons. And you look at 2023, that was the first time he'd been exposed to something like that. So you have that experience to pull from and get ahead of things so that doesn't happen this time.
Is Britton Covey ever going to play?
I think he will.
it's at the point where
I'm glad
Tank Bigsby's bad. Has been bad.
Well, Tank Bigsby's a kick returner. Britton Covey is primarily a punt returner.
Right, but would you put him back there for kick returning?
No.
We've seen him do it. I know he always runs right into the pile, and it looks like he gets hit by a Mack truck. But these guys, they can't field it. Tank Bigsby can't. He's got butterfingers at times.
Yeah, I had a really nice chat with Tank yesterday. I talked to Will yesterday about kick returns, and I think in this situation they claimed a player named Xavier Gibson 3 weeks ago from the off waivers from the Giants. He was previously with the Jets. He's been inactive for the first 3 games. He's their most experienced by far kick returner. So you have to wonder. This is now week 4. Given what we've seen from the return game and their constant, propensity to put the offense at the 26. I think they averaged at the 26, or even that was going into the Giants game. You maybe have to look at another option. And I think Xavier Gibson is worth a look because before you know it, Darius Cooper is going to be coming back from injured reserve. And he's going to be taking that spot more than likely. So you have to get a better assessment of what you have.
I always get worried about this stuff. And look, this is total speculation. I always get worried about we traded for him.
So now I want to make this look good.
They even put him at gunner in the Broncos game. And I said, Tank, have you ever played gunner before? He said, no. He said, sometimes you just have to let your brute strength and your athleticism take over. And I thought he was pretty good and pretty effective in that area. But they're trying to find ways to get him in the mix with special teams.
And that's not just an Eagles thing. I've seen it with the Phillies. I've seen it with any teams all over we trade for him. So we got to make this work. And if it's not working, what are we doing here? All right, coming up next, I need to take a few minutes to rip a starting quarterback in the NFL for giving the all-time "it's not me, it's you" response to something that he did wrong. It's Kincade Salciunas, Andrew DeCecco with us for the remainder of the show here on 97.5 The Fanatic.
Now on 97.5 The Fanatic Sports Update.
Some solid injury news. I'm Connor Thomas, and the Eagles got some tentatively good news on the first injury report of the week yesterday. Landon Dickerson and Quinyon Mitchell were out there at practice in a limited capacity, but still it's good to see them out on the field. And the only Eagle that did not practice was Grant Calcaterra, so health for the Eagles is something that's important right now with some of the injuries they have, but winning is even more so, even if it's been elusive the past couple of weeks. Jalen Hurts talked yesterday about that elusivity and what they need to do to get back on the winning side of things.
The goal is to go out there and win. And I think right now we're searching for how can we put ourselves in a position to win football games and do it in a way where we can establish ourselves and have an identity in that.
We'll see if that search ends this Sunday in Minnesota as the Eagles take on the Vikings 1 p.m. The Phillies have a huge press conference today at 11 a.m. as Rob Thompson and Dave Dombrowski will have their end-of-season availability. We'll be listening closely for the plan going forward. The Flyers take on the Jets tonight, 7 p.m. at the Xfinity Mobile Arena. You can hear that game live right here on 97.5 The Fanatic. Andrew DeCecco will remain with the guys for the remainder of the show. This update is brought to you by Bradford White Water Heaters. When you need a new water heater, choose one that's built to be the best. Choose Bradford White. I'm Connor Thomas for the home of the Sixers, Flyers, and Union. 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
right, it's 9:25 here on Kincade Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic. Around 9:40, we'll ask our second Know the DeCecco question for the second $50 gift card to Roy Rogers. Again, thank you to Roy Rogers dropping off some delicious food this morning. Fantastic. So second $50 gift card will be out the way. Is that the same guy that won yesterday?
No, Eric Mull won yesterday.
Oh,
Joe Muller won today.
That's awesome.
A lot of Muller and Mulls out there.
Mulls and Mullers out in the Philadelphia area. So congratulations to Joe Muller. He won the first
I think
gift card.
that is like a Dutch name or something, Pennsylvania Dutch.
I thought it was the gentleman who tweeted at me all uptight. Give me a break, dude.
Oh, man. Death, taxes, and Andrew DeCecco bringing up Will Shipley as a savior.
Yeah, don't even plug the handle because it's not, But, I mean, come on.
Oh, you don't want to plug Jason Sweet Chuck? Come on, man.
Yeah, if you're going to quote me, get it right.
Come on,
I love it. All right, speaking of if you're going to quote me, get it right. Wait, it's like you knew where we were going with this next segment. Tua Tagovailoa.
Wow.
You know what?
Talk about weak.
This happens every year in a different sport, every single year. It's unbelievable. I still remember who was Merrill Kelly. Remember Merrill Kelly, pitcher for the D-backs?
Yep.
Where was he this year? Royals or Rangers? He was somewhere.
Merrill
Kelly.
Rangers,
very memorable.
He was the guy that said, Citizens Bank Park's not that loud.
Yeah.
And then he was like, no, you guys took me out of context. It's like, you said it. Like those were the words that came out of your mouth. So if you remember, after the Dolphins' most recent loss, Tua Tagovailoa talked about how guys are not coming to player-only meetings or they're showing up late.
Sure.
And a lot of people, former players, were very critical of Tua Tagovailoa for putting that information out there to the media. So he had his midweek media availability yesterday, much like Jalen Hurts did. Take a listen to Tua Tagovailoa apologizing for what he did after the loss on Sunday. But take a listen to some of the part of the middle of the sandwich of his answer. Go ahead, Connor.
Made a mistake, and I'm owning up to that right now. I've talked to guys on the team about it, talked to the leaders about it. They know my heart. They know that the intent was right. But no matter the intent, the intent can be right, but when things get misconstrued or however the media wants to portray it, that leaves a void of silence and a lot of questions for the guys on our team.
You're such a cow. That is cowardly.
What do you mean misconstrue?
You were direct.
Yeah, there was nothing that was misconstrued.
Nobody quoted you, dude. Nobody misquoted you.
Come on, bro.
People played what you said. You stood behind a microphone, you ran your mouth about your teammates, and you said it. You didn't require any deciphering.
That's
Confucius.
So funny.
For God's sake.
The media's going to spin it any way they want. You said it,
Meanwhile,
dude.
you have the clip. Yeah, the clip's been surfacing through social media.
You know what's so funny is?
I hate that, man.
Jalen Hurts got a doctorate in Nick Saban. Nick Sabanisms. Jalen Hurts was an A+ student.
Yeah.
Devontae Smith, an A+ student.
Yeah.
Tua flunked out.
I guess.
Tua flunked out. Nick Saban, I guarantee you, Nick Saban picked up the phone and called Tua this week and said, dude, fix it, because that was stupid. Guarantee it.
I just don't know how
That's terrible.
Like, the whole...
How are you blaming somebody else for your nonsense?
You guys are trying to spin it. Like,
oh, my God.
Dude, you said players are showing up late. Like, you called out your teammates, and now it's the media's fault?
Yeah,
the media did. The media going to spin it.
Come on, bro. I just can't. It's one thing that I... Look, I understand there are people in the media that spin things, right, or speculate all the time. I understand that. But when you say what you... Like, you can't all of a sudden say, people are misconstruing what I'm saying. Like, no, you straight up said that your teammates aren't showing up to meetings.
Right.
That's on you, bro. All right, joining us now on the Comcast Business Hotline. Every day is a big day. Let Comcast Business help you move forward with what's next. We have the AFC North game of the year. It's a big one. Pittsburgh and Cincinnati. And to help us figure out where to go from the betting angles in this game, Mr. Thursday Night himself from GBIWins.com, our man, Michael Westwood. You got to call that number, 1-800-885-2525, and you will get some stuff for tonight. Michael, what do we got cooking tonight, Mr. Thursday Night?
Andrew and John, what's happening? Week 7 is here. I can't even believe it. Should we discuss who we're not able to root for now? Phillies gone. Jets almost gone. Giants, delusional. Yankees history. I mean, Eagles are in trouble. Who do we root for now?
I don't think the Eagles are in trouble. If you're a smart betting man, would be buying stock in the Eagles right now.
Oh, how about that?
Johnny, you got to bet with your heart, not without your heart.
No, I'm not betting with the heart. Man. I'm going to bet with history.
Hey, Michael, we're 6 days away from the Sixers tipping off. That's the next team that's going to break. That's the next team that's going to break my heart.
Good luck with that. Good luck with that. We'll share the cheer. We'll share the cheers with the New York Knicks this year.
Oh yeah, I'm sure. All right. So what do we got, Mr. Thursday Night? Big one tonight. A little AFC North rivalry between the Steelers and the Bengals.
Tonight's not only my AFC North, it's my AFC Game of the Year. Now, guys, I don't just name games of the year or games of the month or anything like that. There's a lot of substance and value that go into this type of information. So tonight, yes, it's my AFC Game of the Year. I'm 8-0 over the last 8 years of this information. Cincinnati playing Pittsburgh. I found a glitch in the line. Vegas is way, way upside down. The line right now is 5.5, and the total's 44.5. But I see 2 mistakes that were made. Okay, so I'm going to release this to everybody who calls my free recorded comp line right now at 1-800-885-2525. Again, that's 1-800-885-2525. It's on my recorded message line. You will get the winner of tonight's Cincinnati-Pittsburgh matchup. It's absolutely free. And again, you're probably saying to yourself, how do I benefit? The way I benefit over giving out a free game and a free winner like tonight is hopefully you guys will see what winning is all about and give me a call tomorrow at 1-800-885-2525, and you'll get my information, and maybe we'll sign up together.
It's one of the craziest NFL seasons that I can remember as far as just some sort of wild upsets, and it just seems very erratic. You're somebody who studies this league. Am I overreacting? Have you sort of seen it too?
I can tell you guys one thing, and it's very upsetting to me because I don't like the bookmakers. The public is getting smashed. The first 6 weeks, I mean, I do a lot of analytical studies on this. They have lost 6 weeks in a row, and the reason being is because the teams that are high-powered are supposed to be winning and covering, and they're not. All right, the teams that are under the radar teams, those teams are absolutely blowing the line up. So the bottom line is this: don't do this on your own. Stop playing parlays. Stop playing teasers. Stop playing, all this other nonsense. Do yourself a favor. Take a shot with me tonight, all right? I really, honestly have great information on tonight's game, Cincinnati playing Pittsburgh. And I'll go one step further. If, God forbid, once again, I lose this game, which I won't lose. I promise you I won't lose. But God forbid I do, I'll give you the whole weekend on me for free. I'll invite you to call my 800 number all weekend. But the bottom line is I've got tremendous information. It's my AFC Game of the Year tonight, Pittsburgh, Cincinnati. Call my number now. It's a recorded message, 800-885-2525. Again, it's 1-800-885-2525. Get the information for free on my recorded message line.
Michael, and you've been killing it all season long, man. You really have been, and what you do for the listeners that, if a game does not go the way that you think, giving them free weekends, that's really freaking cool for you to be able to do. And I remember the one weekend earlier this year where it unfortunately did not go well on the Thursday night game. You then killed it that following weekend. So if anything, I would jump on because I believe in your information. I believe in your insight.
Don't root against me.
I would never root against you. You know that. But even though the weekends, you've been tremendous. So you're Mr. Thursday Night. Hell, you're Mr. Football. You're doing a great job. 1-800-885-2525. 1-800-885-2525. That's the number to climb in. Michael, man, listen, we appreciate the time as always. I know you're off next week, so we'll talk to you in a couple more, all right?
Absolutely, guys. Thanks again. I'll talk to you guys soon.
There's our man Michael Westwood from GBIwins.com. The number 1-800-885-2525. It's not just the AFC North Game of the Year. It's the AFC Game of the Year.
And he has been really, really good. And by the way, when he has given you one Thursday where he struggled, he gave you the weekend for free.
And he killed it that weekend.
He came on the air and he said, I lost that one. So you got some integrity, too, which is great. But he's been on a little bit of a heater.
By the way, you and I both saw the stat. Mike Tomlin in his career, historic, very great career, 0-6 against division opponents on Thursdays.
Wow.
He's never won a divisional game on a Thursday night.
Which is crazy.
That's strange.
Considering how he's a Hall of Fame coach, tremendous. 0-6.
Yeah, he's a tremendous coach. That's shocking.
All right, coming up next, John has a question for Andrew DeCecco about Monday night. He will give his thoughts on Sunday's game. Also, I want you to make the call, Mr. DeCecco. McCarthy or Wentz if you were the Vikings. It's Kincade and Salciunas, 97.5, The Fanatic. All right, couple of things. It is 9:40 here on Kincade and Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic. First, we have to get the Know the DeCecco question in for the second $50 gift card to Roy Rogers. Download the Roy's app today and join Roy's Rewards for a free strawberry shortcake just for signing up, plus double points every Wednesday. Enjoy hand-breaded juicy chicken made fresh daily. And don't forget, Roy's gives back 25% through their Force for Good fundraisers to local organizations. Roy Rogers Beef Burgers Chicken. Second $50 gift card. The question, I asked Andrew DeCecco about the return game because, man, has it been ugly. Who is the player that Andrew DeCecco said the Eagles should give a shot at returning kicks? The first person to get it right at 610-632-0975 on the text line will win the second $50 gift card to Roy Rogers. Again, 610-632-0975. Also, I want to let you promote the podcast, which debuted, was it last week or 2 weeks ago?
Last Thursday.
Last Thursday was the debut of Tell Everybody About the Podcast. You got another one cooking up today.
Yep, it's called Bird's Buzz. It's brought to you by 97.5 The Fanatic. You can find it on the website or on every major podcasting platform. It's just me, and I have the ability to bring on a guest and talk for about 30, 40 minutes, just updating everyone on the Eagles, covering everything from players 1 through 53, talking about prominent storylines, looking at the upcoming matchups and what I've learned from covering the team every day, and hopefully you enjoy it. The first episode was released last Thursday. Today you can expect it to be released around 6 p.m., and that should be that should be in line moving forward.
And knowing you, 30 to 40 minutes, it's like with no fodder, like with no,
it's just me sitting there talking.
You're
so, yeah.
talking, and so I can imagine somebody who, what time do you think it's going to come out?
In the car.
By dinner time, 6 o'clock.
That's what I'm saying. Like
if you got traffic and you would love to have like DeCecco sitting next to you in traffic,
it'll fly by.
Yes.
The 30 to 40 minutes will fly by because the way you operate, which is why we love putting our feet up at 8:10 on Thursdays, because you just spit out information so fast. So definitely check out the podcast on 975thefanatic.com or all the podcasting platforms, as you said. All right, let's play the the Kevin O'Connell clip, Connor. So yesterday, Kevin O'Connell, he's got a quarterback competition right now. Whether you want to admit it or not, like J.J. McCarthy looked okay in this. No, he looked really good in the second half, week 1. Was not good in the first half, but they won. Looked horrible in week 2, gets hurt. Wentz is 2-1, and I can make the case that they're 3-0 if Jordan Addison doesn't look back to see if anybody's catching up to him, and then 40 seconds tick off the clock because of it. Wentz has played well. And so Kevin O'Connell has been asked a lot this week about the upcoming game, and to the point where he's getting frustrated. You'll hear that frustration in this answer, and then I want you to make the call, Mr. DeCecco. What do we got? Play the clip for us, Connor.
Where do you think stand as far as your starting QB for Sunday, Kevin?
They stand in the same place they did Monday when I answered that question.
How will you handle in practice in terms of reps and between Carson and JJ?
Yeah, they're both going to get work, both going to get reps, and very much looking forward to our whole team getting back out there.
I don't understand the snarky comment at the beginning. Like
what is that about?
You have to make a decision, and there's a legitimate battle right now in Minnesota.
Well, I'm sure he wishes that he didn't have to make a big decision because they drafted
Connor said earlier.
J.J. McCarthy, and he wants to be proven right. But as it stands right now, it would probably serve the Vikings best to put Carson Wentz in there at quarterback. He's just a better quarterback right now. He gives that unit a better chance to be successful. And they've found ways to mask some of his deficiencies in holding on to the ball long, taking some bad sacks. He's been getting it out pretty quickly this year, and their offense has yet to really emerge, but they have so many playmakers there. We talked about it. Justin Jefferson, Jordan Addison. I think Jalen Naylor's a solid third receiver. Adam Thielen is a fourth receiver. TJ Hawkinson, I believe, is going to be an X factor in this game. And Josh Oliver, their second tight end, this isn't often discussed, but he's probably one of the best blocking tight ends in the NFL, which could factor into their running game and springing Jordan Mason.
Yeah, Jordan Mason, that was a good pickup for them. It's good that they picked him up because Aaron Jones got hurt so quickly into the season. Is he coming back like next week maybe?
Probably next week. Also, the injury report, Andrew Van Ginkel was listed as limited with the neck. He's been out for a while. I don't necessarily think he's going to roll this week for Sunday, but I mean, to see him on the report,
yeah,
he's a big-time player for that defense. Blake Cashman, their do-it-all linebacker, who is a big-time playmaker, he's going to be playing this week too, so that should also be mentioned.
We all know the big names of Minnesota, and I know that you've already studied that tape. What's another name that maybe we're not talking about as prominently that we should be ready to hear on Sunday that could be a red flag or a danger?
Theo Jackson, their safety, he starts next to Harrison Smith. He's about 6'1", 200 pounds. Rangier type of player, has that length that can affect throwing windows. Blake Cashman's a player I think very highly of. Jonathan Grenard is their best pass rusher right now. Isaiah Rodgers, Byron Murphy. They have a lot of pieces there defensively, but I would say Jonathan Grenard, to answer your question, John, just because of what he brings in terms of in pass rush.
What are you expecting out of Brian Flores?
A lot of pressure. Pain. No, isn't that what Mr. T said in Rocky 3?
Pain.
No, I'm just expecting him to get really creative. You might even see some three-man pressures and things like that. But I go back to what I was saying earlier. Jalen Hurts has handled pressure very well this season, and it's
better than last year, by the way.
Better than last year by a pretty significant margin, in my estimation. But it's forcing defensive coordinators to alter their game plan and completely go a different way. You see it just half to half. So I'm curious to see if the Eagles now have something implemented to atone for that.
How is because I've not been breaking down Minnesota Vikings film. I know you probably looked at the tape this week. How has Javon Hargrave played? Because that was a late pickup for them, and I was like, damn, that's another body on that good defense.
Yeah, and they also have Jonathan Allen.
Yeah,
Hargrave's been good. You know, he's not the best in run defense, but he is someone who can push the pocket from the interior. And when you couple that with, we talked about Jonathan Allen, and you have other players as well, you can't necessarily just fixate on one or two players. They can come at you in waves, and they're pretty deep there in terms of their defensive line.
He's a guy I have no respect for forever, Javon Hargrave. When he went to San Francisco, remember what he said?
When you're talking about the fact that they should have won the game.
Yeah. You won.
That was so bad.
You won the NFC Championship game with the Eagles. You go to the Niners, which that's fine. Like, get your money, man. It's like when Jason Worth went to the Nationals. I didn't care.
Said they should have won the game.
Yeah, if Brock didn't get hurt, I'm like, yo, dude, you can't just spit in the face of everybody that you went to battle with just because you crossed enemy lines.
All for the because he wanted to get paid here. He was a little bit butthurt.
By the way, there's also another player that is not a household name, John, that you just reminded me of. Jalen Redmond. He's a defensive lineman. He has 3 sacks this year for them. He's a good story development, undrafted player out of Oklahoma. And he was a role player last year for them, and this year he's been a starter. So that's a player that most probably aren't familiar with, but he could have an impact Sunday.
It's not making me feel any better. It's not making me feel any better. I know you know how I like to look ahead. Buccaneers-Lions Monday night. Like, usually I don't ever say, boy, Monday Night Football, I'm really looking forward to seeing a game and sitting down and watching it. Bucs-Lions I am because I think they are the 2 biggest threats in the NFC to the Eagles right now, it looks like. Who, if you believe Eagles fans should want to take the loss in that game? The Bucs, who are 5-1, or the Lions, who are 4-2?
See, I still say the Lions. They have to play the Lions on the schedule still. They've taken care of the Bucs. I also think the Lions are just a better team. They didn't necessarily look that way against the Chiefs, but when you look at all the components they have offensively, defensively, yeah, I mean, it's not quite the same as last year for them, especially on the back end, but they have enough there that I think could pose a conundrum to the Eagles just because they have impact players on both sides of the ball.
I'm just thinking if
your team Andrew and Amy.
I'm just thinking if the Bucs don't take another loss, the Bucs' schedule is much easier. And you do have the tiebreaker with them, but you already are a loss behind them. You've already gotten your second loss.
Tiebreaker's huge, and I'll say almost like last year with the Lions. Like at some point, the injury bug's going to just be too much.
Because they've really gotten banged out.
Baker's been freaking tremendous this year,
but he takes a lot of hits.
And at some point,
he's been like an MVP.
He absolutely has. And he's doing it with a lot of, offensive linemen that he doesn't ordinarily work with. They've been banged up in the trenches, and Mike Evans hasn't been there.
I think he might come back this Monday. Mike Evans.
He might.
But that's a Hall of Fame wide receiver right there. I mean,
yeah,
that's going to amplify that greatly.
But with Egbuka getting hurt,
he's hurt,
and Godwin.
They don't know if he's out though, right?
Right. I don't think that's official yet. Like
I'm telling you, the Bucs are scary as hell.
No, they are.
You don't want to go to Tampa in January.
I like their rushing attack with Bucky Irving and Rashad White. They complement each other pretty well.
We'd be willing to.
Well, it's a good place.
We'd be more than willing
spot to hang out. All right, so the Checkadamus, it's your time. Your prediction for the game on Sunday and how you think maybe some key moments will play out.
Well, based off of just everything that I've gleaned to start the week, I think the Eagles get back on track. I really do. Now, I don't know that this is going to be one of those clear decisions. I think this might be one of those games that's a little bit more evenly matched.
This is not the NFC Championship game of 2017.
Yes. I'll say they win 27-21, something like that.
Okay. I'll take a win.
27-23.
I'll just take a win in Minnesota.
Well, yeah, that's true. What's a key moment for you?
Dallas Goedert is, in my opinion, is going to have a nice game. The matchups favor what he's able to do, threatening the second level of the field. He's been really productive. I think he has 5 or 6 touchdowns this year, 100 yards against the Giants. He's just been a really consistent player when he's been out there, and the matchup dictates him having some advantages.
Borderline devastated, man.
Well, he's going to have his best year touchdowns. He's on pace to have his best year touchdowns as an Eagle ever. So hopefully that'll, continue. Because he's been a real asset.
It's a reminder of how dominant of a player he can be at that position when he's available. And I've long said I've been a big advocate of what he can provide to that offense. And now you'd like to see everybody collectively come together, but he's been the benefactor so far through 6 games. And you're seeing why he was so highly thought of earlier in his career, especially.
All right, tell us about some life-saving cancer research, please, Mr. Kincade.
Yeah, our friends FT Young Heating and Air Conditioning made a donation to the AACR, and you can too. Go to 975thefanatic.com/AACR because I'm living proof that cancer research saves lives.
Wow. Andrew from Deptford. So we got Andrew DeCecco, Andrew Salciunas. Andrew from Deptford was our winner of our second $50 gift card to Roy Rogers.
Is that Salciunas cooking the books?
Could be.
Andrew from Deptford, thanks for listening. Thanks for paying attention.
Yeah, we're a big fan of Andrew from Deptford.
He seems a little confident. Connor, check the number.
I'm going to look into this.
I mean, look, that breakfast sandwich was freaking delicious. I wouldn't mind $50 to Roy Rogers.
Telling you. Boy, that food went fast out there.
No, it was amazing.
It's gone. Ricky Bowe won't be complaining about food being left over.
Yeah, he sent us a text complaining about the mess.
Which, by the way, they brought enough food for the entire...
Look, I'm going to stick up for Ricky because when there was food left here from the previous distributor, whoever provided the food, I'm not going to name names, there was this cold brew that was sitting there for... You got to think, when we're coming in, it's 2 to 6. It's been sitting there since 8 o'clock in the morning. It's disgusting. It's foul. And if Ricky doesn't like it, I'm going to have his back.
Well, I would say to Ricky is that at 10 a.m., when people haven't had their chance to clear out all the food from Nifty 50s, we're not taking it at 10 and going, we're throwing it out.
Speaking of 10 a.m.,
well, why not?
I mean, it's stuff sitting out there and it's
hard out. Comes your way next. Bye.
Now, on 97.5 The Fanatic Sports Update.
Real subtle there, Salciunas. The Eagles' first injury report of the week is out. The Eagles got some tentatively good news on their first injury report of the week yesterday. Landon Dickerson and Quinyon Mitchell practiced in a limited capacity. The only Eagle that did not practice was Grant Calcaterra. And health's important, so the Eagles getting that is good. But winning is more so, and it's eluded them the past couple of weeks. So Jalen Hurts talked yesterday about searching to get back in the win column.
The goal is to go out there and win. And I think right now we're searching for how can we put ourselves in position to win football games and do it in a way where we can establish ourselves and have an identity in that.
Well, it's week 7. It's a good time for the search to end for them to find it. The Eagles go on the road to face the Vikings 1 p.m. Sunday, so we'll see what the result will be. The Phillies have a huge press conference today at 11 a.m. as Rob Thompson and Dave Dombrowski have their end-of-year availability. They'll talk about what the plan is going forward. We'll be listening closely. The Flyers take on the Jets tonight, 7 p.m. at the Xfinity Mobile Arena. You can hear that game live here on 97.5 The Fanatic. This update's brought to you by Mercedes-Benz. Looking for an exceptional driving experience? Experience the power, precision, and intelligence of an iconic Mercedes-Benz SUV at your local Mercedes-Benz dealer today. I'm Connor Thomas for the home of the Sixers, Flyers, and Union, 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5